Could you please give us any estimation of the infrastructure damage which took place during this entire incident of cloudburst?
We don't have the exact details, but the information we have from the media is that lot of shops, the homestays, commercial complex and residential places have been razed to the ground. They have simply vanished, and you can see the large area is now sparse. Nothing is visible. So a lot of infrastructural damage is there.
As Republic tracks the ground situation closely, let's take a look. These reports are there to understand what's happening on the ground.
इस समय एनडीआरएफ की टीम भी देखिए यहाँ पर फंसी हुई है, लेकिन जेसीबी देखिए कुछ देर के लिए जिसका यहाँ पर काम रुक गया था। असल में लगातार 5-6 घंटे काम करने की वजह से जेसीबी में देखिए ऑयल फिलिंग यहाँ पर की जा rही थी। ऑयल फिलिंग करने के बाद एक बार फिर ये काम पर लगेंगे। अब देखिए जेसीबी को यहाँ पर स्टार्ट किया जा रहा है और एक बार इनसे बातचीत करते हैं। भैया आप भी ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं जेसीबी? जी, देखिए फिलहाल जेसीबी के जो यहाँ पर पायलट है उनसे भी हम एक बार बातचीत करते हैं कि आखिर कब तक ये क्लियर कर पाएंगे मलबा। अभिषेक आइए इधर। भैया आप ही ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं पूरा?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
कब तक क्या उम्मीद लग रही है? क्योंकि देखिए एक बार पीछे का एक बार मंजर दिखाइए, फिर इनसे बातचीत करते हैं। अभिषेक ये देखिए जो ये काम कर रहे हैं कितना कठिन है। भैया कितना वक्त लगेगा, क्या लग रहा है?
ज्यादा नहीं है, 1 घंटा खुल जाएगा।
1 घंटे और?
हाँ 1 घंटे में खुल जाएगा।
1 घंटे में आपको मतलब कि एकदम दिल से आप कह रहे हैं, आपकी हिम्मत है इतनी कर देने?
1 घंटे में सही हो जाएगा।
कितने घंटे से आप लगे हुए हैं?
अभी सुबह से लगे हैं, 4 बजे से।
4 बजे से आप लगे?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
तो एक ही जेसीबी लगी है कि और गाड़ियां भी लगी हैं?
थोड़ा आगे बंद था। हाँ वो आगे भेज दी।
मतलब कि मान के चलूं मैं कि 12 बजे तक रास्ता क्लियर हो जाए?
हाँ हो जाएगा, 1 घंटा में हो जाएगा।
1 घंटे में?
1 घंटे में।
तो लेकिन इनके हौसलों को सलाम करता है देखिए रिपब्लिक भारत की, कैसे जेसीबी के जो पायलट हैं कह रहे हैं कि अगले महज केवल 1 घंटे में इस रास्ते को ये क्लियर करने वाले हैं। ये देखिए तस्वीर, आप कहीं से कुछ भी दूर दूर यहाँ पर दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है। और अब जेसीबी देखिए अपना काम अब करने के लिए एक बार फिर अब चल पड़ी है कि कैसे रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन के दौर को यहाँ पर पहुंचाया जाए। रिपब्लिक भारत पर फर्स्ट एंड एक्सक्लूसिव ये तस्वीर जो लगातार रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन के लिए यहाँ पर टीमें जुटी हैं, जेसीबी यहाँ पर काम कर रही है। प्रशासन लगातार एक्टिव है ग्राउंड जीरो पर कि कैसे धराली के लोगों तक, उस गांव तक मदद पहुंचाया जाए जो हिमालय की दरारों में बसा वो गांव है। समुद्र तल से लगभग 2700 मीटर की ऊंचाई पर वहां तक लोगों को पहुंचाना है इस रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन की टीम को भी। और रिपब्लिक भारत की तस्वीर इसलिए दिखा रहा है ताकि धराली के लोग जो हैं, जो उत्तरकाशी के लोग हैं, उनमें भी हिम्मत आए, उनका भी हौसला बढ़े कि कैसे रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन की टीम यहाँ पर काम कर रही है। आप लोग भी यहीं के रहने वाले हैं?
यहीं के रहने वाले हैं।
कब से आप लोग देख रहे हैं? यहाँ पर मौसम तो बहुत खराब हो गया है।
यहाँ 3-4 दिन से है।
3-4 दिन से। अभी प्रशासन कह रहा है कि और भी आने वाले दिनों में यही हाल रहेगा।
देखो क्या मर्जी है।
सतर्क हैं आप लोग?
जी।
चाचा जी यहीं के हैं?
हम यहीं के
आप तो पूरा जीवन बिता दिए उत्तरकाशी में, ऐसा मंजर कब कब देखे आप?
कभी देखे नहीं, जैसे आज हो गए वहाँ।
कभी नहीं देखे?
कभी नहीं देखा था।
कितने साल उम्र है आपके? कितने साल उम्र है
मेरी?
हाँ।
मैं 70 साल का हूँ।
70 साल। देखिए अनामिका, 70 साल के चाचा रिपब्लिक भारत पर इस समय खड़े हैं। इन 70 सालों में उत्तरकाशी का मंजर इन्होंने ऐसा नहीं देखा था जो आज के दिन ये देख।
वहाँ देखे था मैंने केदारनाथ, 12 में गया था।
12 साल पहले?
हाँ 12 साल
12 साल पहले। जो 12 साल पहले जो आपदा, जो सैलाब जो आया था केदारनाथ में, देखिए ये बता रहे हैं कि उसके पहले इन्होंने कभी ऐसा मंजर यहाँ पर नहीं देखा। जेसीबी रिपब्लिक भारत पर आप देख पा रहे हैं जो अब फिर अब जा रहा है इस पहाड़ी पर इस मलबे को हटाने के लिए, क्योंकि लगातार अभी भी ऊपर चोटी से मलबा गिर रहा है। अभिषेक जूम करिए ऊपर की ओर। ये देखिए जहां से मलबा ये गिरा है, कैसे यहाँ से चट्टान देखिए, बड़ी बड़ी ये पत्थरें जिस पर इस समय मैं खड़ा हूं। देखिए ये पत्थर आप अंदाजा लगाइए जब ये नीचे गिरा होगा तो भला क्या हाल हुआ होगा। यहाँ पर 1-2 गाड़ियां थी जिन्हें देखिए पीछे भेजा गया और लगातार अभी रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन का दौर कैसे ये पहुंचाया जाए। फायर ब्रिगेड की गाड़ियां, अब यहां से लोगों को पीछे किया जा रहा है। उत्तराखंड पुलिस, अभिषेक पीछे आइए, वहां जेसीबी देखिए काम अब करने लगी है और पुलिसकर्मी जो है वो जान रहे हैं एहतियात के तौर पे हमें भी पीछे करना है, अन्य लोगों को भी यहां से आगे की लेकर जाना है। जो लोग यहां पर डटे हुए हैं, अब देखिए फायर ब्रिगेड की गाड़ियां, जो एम्बुलेंस, जो कुछ देर पहले मैं दिखा रहा था वैकल्पिक रास्ते का जब मैंने इस्तेमाल किया था, लगभग 15 किलोमीटर दूरी मैंने तय की थी ताकि मैं धराली गांव पहुंच पाऊं, लेकिन कुछ देर के बाद वो रास्ता देखिए ब्लॉक था और जो एम्बुलेंस हमारे पीछे पीछे जा रहे थे, जिनको हमने अपने लाइव बुलेटिन के दौरान देखिए रास्ता दिया था, वो एम्बुलेंस भी अब इसी रास्ते पर वापस एक बार फिर अब आ चुके हैं। इन एम्बुलेंस को भी यहीं से होकर गुजरना है और लगभग 10 से 15 एम्बुलेंस इस पूरी कतार में आपको लगे हुए दिखाई देंगे। जो राहत सामग्री जा रही है इन बसों में, जो अब मैं दिखा रहा हूं।
अब देखिए निश्चित तौर से रास्ते जो है वो बंद है, बोटलनेक को खोलने का प्रयास लगातार जेसीबी पॉलिंग की मशीनें कर रही है। मैं आपको तस्वीर दिखाना चाहूंगा, ये देखिए उफनती हुई गंगा है, लगातार जो बहाव है ये बहाव पानी का बहुत तेज हो चुका है। उत्तरकाशी पे ही हमें उत्तरकाशी जिले पर ही हम मौजूद है, जहां जहां बुलडोजर चल रहा है, पॉकलैंड की मशीन है वो रास्ता खोल रही है, तो हम लगातार आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। ये आप तस्वीर देख सकते हैं, उत्तरकाशी की तस्वीर है। मौसम आप देख सकते हैं पूरा कोहरा से ये पूरा मौसम पैक है, जहां तक नजर डालाएंगे ये मौसम पूरी तरह से पैक है और नीचे उफन मारती है गंगा लगातार बह रही है। तो हम कह सकते हैं हम लगातार ग्राउंड जीरो पर पहुंचने का प्रयास लगातार कर रहे हैं। मुख्यमंत्री धामी लगातार निरीक्षण कर रहे हैं, उन्होंने आला अधिकारी को दिशा निर्देश दिए हैं। आईपीएस और आईएएस अधिकारियों की तैनाती उत्तरकाशी जिले में की है, जो पहले के पूर्व जिलाधिकारी है उनको उन्होंने यहाँ पर तैनात किया है। आईपीएस अधिकारियों को तैनात किया है, जिनके पास यहाँ पर अनुभव है। 20 करोड़ से अधिक जो फंड है उसे यहाँ पर जारी कर दिया गया। आपदा के मद में प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी, गृह मंत्री अमित शाह, जेपी नड्डा लगातार मुख्यमंत्री धामी के संपर्क में है। मुख्यमंत्री जी एक अपडेट वहां तक दे रहे हैं। इसके साथ ही राहत बचाव कार्य जो है एसडीआरएफ की टीम, एनडीआरएफ की टीम, आईटीबीपी की टीम मौके पर यानी कि हरसिल पर कर रही है। उत्तरकाशी जिले से हरसिल की जो दूरी है वो लगभग 80 किलोमीटर है। भटवाड़ी के बाद जो मार्ग है वो वॉश आउट हो चुका है, तो उस रास्ते में जो तमाम लोग हैं एसडीआरएफ एनडीआरएफ की जो टीम है उन्हें वहां तक पहुंचाने में काफी चुनौतियों का सामना करना पड़ रहा है। आप ये तस्वीर लगातार मेरे साथ देख सकते हैं, ये मार्ग है जहां जहां रास्ता खुल रहा है वहां से गाड़ियां दौड़ रही है, लगातार चल रही है। ये देखिए तस्वीर देखिए, नीचे उफनती हुई गंगा है और मैं आपको ये तस्वीर यहाँ पर दिखाना चाहूंगा। आगे देखिए आपको बाजार यहाँ पर दिखाई देगा, एक मार्केट यहाँ पर दिखाई देगा। तो ये देखिए ऊपर देखिए मौसम पैक है, यहाँ पर देखिए ये बाजार यहाँ पर है। तो मैं कह सकता हूँ कि लगातार हमारा प्रयास है ग्राउंड जीरो पर जल्द से जल्द पहुंचने का, लेकिन भूस्खलन लैंडस्लाइड लगातार हो रही है, मौसम लगातार पैक है, जिससे कहीं ना कहीं चुनौतियों का सामना लगातार करना पड़ रहा है। देखिए मौसम देखिए, पूरा मौसम कोहरा छाया हुआ है। ऐसे में जो एयर कनेक्टिविटी है उससे राहत नहीं पहुंच पा रही है। हालांकि चिनूक की बात की जाए, M17 जहाजों की बात की जाए, ये अपने बेस पर तैयार है कि कब इन्हें छूट मिले, मौसम खुला मिले, स्काई ब्लू मिले और ये उत्तरकाशी जिले के लिए उड़ान भरे। मुख्यमंत्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी ग्राउंड जीरो पर मौजूद है, अधिकारियों को भी उन्होंने यहाँ पर तैनात किया। तमाम देखिए देहरादून के आईएएस अधिकारी यहाँ पर मौके पर पहुंचे। मुख्यमंत्री धामी ने आईएएस अधिकारी को तैनात किए, पीएस अधिकारियों को यहाँ पर तैनात किया। सर आप लोगों को मुख्यमंत्री धामी जी ने यहाँ पर तैनात किया है, आपदा की स्थिति को देखते हुए क्या कुछ आपके फीडबैक है और सर क्या कुछ दिशा निर्देश?
अभी हम पहुँच रहे हैं उत्तरकाशी, पहुँचने के बाद स्थिति का जायजा लेकर ही कुछ बता पाएंगे, अभी मैं बताने की स्थिति में।
क्या लगता है सर जिससे
And there's the big breaking news coming in of Prime Minister Modi's visit to Japan and China. This is the big breaking news coming in. That is, there we are also getting for the SCO meet, the Prime Minister's visit to Japan and China for the SCO meet. We're also being told that Prime Minister Modi was going to be likely to visit Japan in August and China, and this is what we're being told about the SCO meet, that ahead of that Prime Minister Modi's Japan is going to be visiting Japan and China likely, and it's already happening. This was in August. This is happening for the annual summit followed by a trip to China for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. There are efforts by both the governments of India and China to stabilize bilateral ties. I'm going to go across to senior executive editor, my colleague Abhishek Kapoor, joining us on the phone line. Abhishek, give us the significance for these. I'm also going to first go across to our executive editor, political news, Aishwarya Kapoor, joining us on the phone line. Aishwarya, give us the significance of these ties with Japan and China.
Well, keep in mind the international changing world order. We are being told that the Prime Minister Modi is going to be visiting Japan on the 30th of this very month, that is 30th of August, and the Prime Minister will be visiting to China as well. I repeat, Prime Minister Modi will be going to China on the 31st of August, and it will be a 48-hour visit, basically from 31st of August to 1st of September, and he is going for the SCO summit. So that is going to be an important one. So S.J. Shankar in China for the SCO summit, and now the Prime Minister's acceptance has come in, so that the Prime Minister is going to be visiting China on the 31st. And prior to that, he's also going to make a day visit to Japan. So that in itself is a very significant visit, and is also sending international messages at a time when you see the American President daily making some of the other remarks as far as their tariff policy is concerned. The Indian Prime Minister accepting and going to China, going to on the 31st for the is going to be a big national message going to be given to their American counterpart.
Absolutely. This is also Prime Minister Modi traveling to China, his first visit to the country, Aishwarya, since 2019. Bilateral ties had hit a new low after the Galwan clashes, but the bilateral meeting on the cards with Prime Minister Modi in the SCO summit, like you mentioned. The two met last in Kazan for the BRICS summit. And Abhishek, Donald Trump, another factor that has also been pushing India to mend ties with China. All right, that's the big story that we're continuing to track. But also, after a short break, UPA era Augusta Westland scam back in focus. Republic gets the first ever interview of middleman Christian Michel.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
Mujawar has been a part of the ATS team that investigated this Malegaon case, and what he has to say today is explosive. He's breaking the silence. Mahmood Mujawar ji, thank you. शुक्रिया हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए. First of all, आपको ये फैसला आज सुन के क्या लगा? Do you think justice has finally been done in the case, Mujawar ji?
बहुत अच्छा लगा सर, कहीं तो न्याय हो गया और ये न्याय मिलाने के लिए जो आपने जद्दोजहद की, जो आपने कोशिश की, वो सही में काम आई सर। खास करके मैं निरंजन स्वामी का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ, जिन्होंने मेरा कोई तुम्हारे चैनल से कोई संबंध नहीं था।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा सबका राजा आर्थिक मसाला।
Republic TV and R4 Sports, they are trying to do something big in sports. They are dreaming something big. They are trying to take out all the untold stories from the athletes, from the academies, and from other sports stakeholders. And I guess this should be there in the national stage, the R4 Sports and Republic TV. Good luck.
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च.
The Indian economy has been the fastest growing G20 economy for 8 of the last 11 years. And those are the only 8 in the last 77 years, during which India has been the largest, has been the fastest growing economy among the G20. So, during the years that Rahul Gandhi's family ruled India, India's per capita income was declining relative to the rest of the world. Just listen to that. The average income of an Indian was
Hello and
welcome you watching Republic TV with me, Akanksha Khajuria. Get ready for a game-changing moment. Republic TV is proud to present Our for Sports, a national campaign dedicated to discovering, celebrating and nurturing India's sporting spirit and spotlighting the heroes who carry India's hopes one match, one moment at a time. And from rising athletes to grassroots talent, Our for Sports bring their stories to the center stage. One mission, that is sports first and the nation first. And this is more than a campaign, it's a call to action. Our for Sports coming soon only on Republic TV. UPA era Augusta Westland scam is back in focus. Republic TV gets first ever interview of Christian Michel. Christian Michel makes huge admission of corruption, tries to pass the buck to co-accused. Rahul Gandhi alleges Prime Minister Modi silent on Donald Trump because of the inquiry on Adani.
India says that the US imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that. Yeah, please.
Donald Trump reacts to India citing US trade with Russia amid the tariff threat, says, I don't know. NSA Doval in Russia to discuss the partnership amid Trump's tariff threats. We have breaking news coming in. As far as the Mangaluru auto rickshaw blast case is concerned, we are learning that ED has made a chilling revelation in this case. The money that funded the bomb, the IED that was meant to blow up a temple, was arranged through crypto transaction and the bank accounts as well. And the funds routed through POS agents, crypto encashment through fraudulent accounts. And at the heart of this, all deadly ideology of the ISIS. The plan was to target the sacred Dharamsala temple, but the bomb exploded prematurely inside the auto rickshaw. And now what we're learning is that the Enforcement Directorate has attached a bank balance from the account of one of the accused. His name is Syed Yassin. He's one of the accused in the case, and in fact, the Enforcement Directorate is looking into the terror fund trail as well. So this is as far as the Mangalore auto rickshaw blast case is concerned. This dates back to 2022 when you can see on the screen there was a blast in that auto rickshaw in Mangalore. That was a low intensity explosion in the auto rickshaw on the outskirts of Mangaluru city in the coastal Karnataka. In fact, which was initially believed to be a technical glitch in the vehicle, but now it turns out it was an IED blast that was an act of terror. The Enforcement Directorate is also probing this matter, and they have made a chilling revelation in this case. They have said that the money that funded the bomb, the IED that was meant to blow up a temple, was arranged through cryptocurrency, and this is what has come to the fore as far as this investigation is concerned. Let's get you more information as far as this auto rickshaw blast is concerned. This took place in 2022, and the visuals of this low-intensity blast are there on your screen. In fact, the Enforcement Directorate had also started this entire probe, as there was an angle of money laundering as well. And now this is the update that we are getting, that in fact the money that was arranged to blow up the temple, and temple in question was Dharamsala temple, was arranged through cryptocurrency and bank accounts. And in this regard, what we're learning is that one of the accused bank account and the bank balance has been attached by the Enforcement Directorate as far as this case is concerned. The original plan was to target the sacred Dharamsala temple, but the bomb exploded prematurely inside the auto rickshaw that you can see on the screen. Earlier, it was suspected to be a glitch, but later it turned out it was a low-intensity IED blast, and hence to probe the money laundering angle as well as to how the money was brought in the country to arrange for this bomb and where the money was in fact going to. Enforcement Directorate had started the investigation in this case, and now what we are learning is that while probing the funding in this case, the Enforcement Directorate has found that the money was arranged through crypto transaction and mule bank accounts as well. All right, and funds were also routed through POS agents, and this is in fact the plan that has come to the fore as far as this blast is concerned. Several agents were involved. Money was arranged through crypto, encashment through fraudulent accounts as well. And at the heart of this deadly ideology was ISIS, and this is something that the probe agencies are also investigating into. The role of the ISIS, also the money transaction, how the money came to the country, and now it has come to the fore that it was all arranged illegally through the crypto transaction as well. Let me go across to my colleague Abhishek, who joins us live in the broadcast with more details as far as this auto rickshaw blast in Karnataka is concerned. Abhishek, tell us more about what ED has found in the probe and as far as the money laundering angle is concerned.
Well, with respect to the Mangalore auto rickshaw blast which happened in 2022 in September, we've clearly seen a couple of people who were injured, and also the identified person has opted into work in the style of IS is what we've already been informed. And with respect to the amount which had been transferred to this person to conduct this blast is 2.86 lakhs was deposited via cryptocurrency dealers is what the investigation has come out as of now. So we will also have to see who actually helped them to transfer this 2.86 and which cryptocurrency module did they use and who were the persons who were involved within this ring. And also we will also have to, the investigation will also show more details on how this network actually worked. This person who actually was behind the IED or the improvised explosive device blast was a very young person whose parents also didn't know that he was involved in this. He was 24-year-old Mohammad Sharik, who also was a resident of Tirthalli in Malnad of Karnataka. So how did this relationship between the IS and Mohammad Sharik start? And who are the people who were standing as a bridge between the Malnad and the other country, or whichever the country operated with respect to the blast? And who were the people who arranged for the money, and how did they route all this money towards this blast? So we will have to wait and see through the course of investigation with some more details pertaining this to this blast and pertaining to the finance produced to this blast. And we will also have to see how the amount was directed towards Mohammad Sharik as of now. Akanksha.
Absolutely, Abhishek. Stay on with us. Let me go across to my colleague Deepak, who joins us live in the broadcast from the Republic TV newsroom. Deepak, tell us more about this case. We're learning that as far as the auto rickshaw bomb blast case is concerned, one thing is clear, there is the role of ISIS. And the second is that the money was arranged through cryptocurrency. What more are you learning in this case?
That's right, Akanksha. Major revelations have been made by the Enforcement Directorate, right from targeting Dharmasthala, which is one of the biggest and the most prominent religious institutions in Karnataka, to a cryptocurrency dark web network. The Enforcement Directorate has made some major revelations. Let me take you through this. The blast was not just a one-off act, Akanksha. It was part of a larger ISIS-backed terror plot aimed at waging a war against India. And the target was Dharmasthala temple. The IED, which was being carried in the auto rickshaw in a cooker, was supposed to be planted at the Dharmasthala Manjunatha temple, a major religious site, like I was mentioning just a few moments back. But the bomb detonated prematurely inside the auto rickshaw because the timer was incorrectly set to 9 seconds instead of 90 minutes. This is what the Enforcement Directorate has revealed. And furthermore, cryptocurrency was also used to fund the terror act. Funds for assembling the bomb, the IED and logistics were routed through cryptocurrencies, and these were encashed via POS agents and fraudulent mule accounts in Fino Payments Bank. And what we even further understand is that online training was also done by an ISIS handler. The main accused, Mohammad Sharik, and others were trained by an ISIS handler, Colonel, codenamed Colonel, through Telegram and other apps like Wicker. And what we have to also further note, Akanksha, is the fact that training included making IEDs. So Mohammad Sharik and Yasin were all trained to make IEDs. In fact, these were all engineering students as well. And the Enforcement Directorate has now attached terror funds. It has attached about 29,176 rupees in Syed Yasin's bank account, calling it proceeds of crime under PMLA. Mule account network has also been exposed because the network network of fake mule bank accounts was used to receive and distribute terror funds. Maz Munir, another accused, allegedly helped Sharik set up these accounts and receive money from colonels. So this is a larger ISIS module that has been busted in Mangaluru. And now, 3 years later, from when the blast took place in 2022, the Enforcement Directorate has, revealed more crucial evidence about cryptocurrencies and what the larger plot was. And that was to target the Dharmasthala religious site.
Absolutely, that was the target as far as ISIS is concerned, and a larger conspiracy has been unearthed by the Enforcement Directorate. Thanks so much, Deepak and Abhishek, for joining me. Our focus to another story coming in from Karnataka. SIT has revisited Dharamstala Gram Panchayat office, and they have collected the list of presidents, vice presidents, members, PDOs and civic workers from 1995 to 2015. And SIT in fact aims to verify whistleblowers' claim about the mass burial in that area, and team has now left after obtaining all this records. So the probe into the mass burial, the Dharamstala mass burial case in fact continues. In fact, what we're learning is that earlier today there was a high-level meeting as well in Karnataka to, in fact, brief about what has been found in this case so far. But what we have learned in the last 7 days, 114 bone fragments and the skulls have been found by the SIT team. And there on the screen you can see that they're still going through and going through that area where the whistleblower that you can see on the screen, completely donned in black, he has claimed that he was in fact over the years, starting from 1995, he was asked to bury the body of rape victims in that area. So the hunt is on to find those skeletons. Let me go across to my colleague Nagendra, who's been tracking this story very closely. Nagendra, आप बताइए कि SIT की टीम, हमें पता चल रहा है कि आज स्पॉट पे गई, वहां से काफी कुछ रिकॉर्ड्स इकट्ठे किए 1995 से 2015 पे, तो नजर अब ऑफिशियल्स पे भी है, हो सकता है कि उनका भी कुछ रोल हो कि वहां पे जो विसल ब्लोअर है उनका कहना है कि काफी ईयर्स तक उनको वहां बॉडी दफनाने को किया गया था. क्या नजर अब ऑफिशियल्स पे भी है वहां के?
आकांक्षा, देखिए बहुत सारा ट्विस्ट पकड़ रहे एक केस में, क्योंकि SIT लोग 12 पॉइंट में ऑलरेडी एक्सकवेशन कर चुका है. वो 12 पॉइंट से केवल 6th पॉइंट में थोड़ा बोन्स मिला था, मतलब स्केल्ट मिला था, उसको लैब को ऑलरेडी उन्होंने भेज चुका है. लेकिन ये 13 पॉइंट को छोड़ के कब 11th पॉइंट में वो मास्कमैन जाता है, तभी वो जगह बदलने के लिए वो पूछता है. एक्सकवेशन दूसरा जगह में करने के लिए वो लोग वो कंप्लेनेंट एक रिक्वेस्ट करता है. उसका रिक्वेस्ट के बारे में वो लोग उधर जाके ढूंढा तो उधर एक 70% बॉडी का एक स्केलेटन पूरा मिल जाता है. तभी SIT लोग AC का इंस्ट्रक्शन लेके, मतलब इधर का लोकल AC स्टेला वर्गीस का इंस्ट्रक्शन पकड़ के SIT लोग उसको सीज करके उसको भी लैब को भेजने के लिए तो प्लानिंग कर रहे हैं. देखिए अभी आज हमारा पास एक्सक्लूसिव इंफॉर्मेशन अभी मिला है, ये ऑफिशियल रिपोर्ट है. आज 11th A पॉइंट में, मतलब 13 पॉइंट ऑलरेडी कर चुका था, मतलब 13 पॉइंट किया था, वो 13 पॉइंट में 12 पॉइंट में ऑलरेडी एक्सकवेशन हो गया था. लेकिन उसके बाद और एक पॉइंट को परसों, मतलब मंडे उन्होंने दिखाया था ना, वो परसों का पॉइंट को 11th बार ये पॉइंट रखा है. वो 11th A पॉइंट में आज पूरा दिन एक्सकवेशन किया, लेकिन उधर कुछ भी नहीं मिला था. मतलब कम से कम 4 फीट डिग किया है, एक्सकवेशन किया है, उधर कुछ भी नहीं मिला है बोल के आज SIT लोग वो कंप्लेनेंट को वापस SIT ऑफिस को लेके गए. देखिए आज सुबह SIT ऑफिसर्स एक बड़ा मीटिंग किया है, क्लोज डोर में एक मीटिंग किया है इसके बारे में, और दूसरा एंगल में भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन करने के लिए वो लोग प्लान भी कर रहे हैं. क्योंकि अभी देखिए धर्मस्थला पुलिस स्टेशन में कितना लोग काम किया था, कम से कम 1990 से आज तक कितना लोग काम किया था, उन्होंने कौन सा इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया था, वो पूरा जानकारी SIT लोग ने ले चुका है. और एक बात है, मतलब धर्मस्थला पुलिस स्टेशन आजू बाजू में बहुत सारा UDR केस भी मिला था, बहुत सारा सुसाइड केस भी उन्होंने अटेंड किया था, उसका बारे में भी जानकारी ले चुका है. उसका बारे में अभी इंफॉर्मेशन लेने के लिए SIT टीम आगे आ चुका है. अभी मास्कमैन को बेलतंगड़ी SIT ऑफिस को लेके गया है, उधर उसको इंक्वायरी भी चलेगा. उसके साथ और एक बंदा आ चुका है, मैं भी उसके साथ था, मैं भी देखा हूं बोल के वो भी आके कंप्लेंट देने के लिए आए. उसको भी मतलब उसका कंप्लेंट को भी देखने के लिए अभी SIT ऑफिसर्स, सीनियर ऑफिसर्स के लोग बातचीत
बातचीत चल रहा है। अभी देखिए आज सुबह एसआईटी टीम का हेड प्रणब मोहंती एंड एमएन अनुचित पूरा टीम आ चुका है। इधर आके बहुत सारा मीटिंग भी किया है। कल 13th पॉइंट में उन लोगों ने एस्केलेशन करने के लिए प्लानिंग कर रहे हैं, लेकिन ये पूरा 13 पॉइंट प्लस 11th बार ये पॉइंट में कम से कम 100 का भी ज़्यादा बोन्स भी मिल चुका है। उसको लैब को भेजा है, लेकिन वो पूरा आदमी का बोन्स है बोल के अभी इंफॉर्मेशन मिला है, लेकिन वो ऑफिशियल इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है। मतलब लैब का रिपोर्ट आने तक हम लोग भी वेट करना पड़ता है। आकांक्षा,
Absolutely new twist in this mass burial case. In fact, in the last 7 days, hundreds of bones and different other skulls have been found from that spot. Keep tracking those details, Nagendra. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this. And now get ready for a game-changing movement. Republic TV is proud to present the R for Sports, a national campaign dedicated to discovering, celebrating and nurturing India's sporting spirit and spotlighting also the heroes who carry India's hopes one match, one moment at a time. And from rising athletes to grassroots talent, R for Sports brings their stories to the center stage with one mission in mind, and that is sports first and the nation first. And this is more than a campaign, it's a call to action. R for Sports coming soon only on Republic TV Media Network. Let's get started with the breaking news that we're getting as far as Manipur is concerned. There's a major development from Manipur that we are getting in right now. First joint talks to restore peace were held, in fact, today. Methi and Kuki CSOs meet in Imphal for the first time after May 3rd, 2023. And Valley-based Manipur CSOs with representatives of Kuki CSOs held their first meeting to restore the peace and normalcy in the state of Manipur. And this meeting took place at the Classic Hotel in Imphal. 16 representatives from Kuki CSOs and Valley-based Manipur CSOs they were in fact present in this meeting, a very crucial one that took place in Manipur today. Let me go across to my colleague Johnson, who joins us live on the broadcast with more details. Johnson, these are in fact the first joint talks that were held between the two communities. As far as the chaos in Manipur is concerned, there was one which both of the groups held with the ministry, with the central government, in fact, in April earlier this year. But this is the first joint talk between them. Give us more details about this.
Yes, Akanksha. This is a very big major development of Manipur to bring peace and normalcy regarding this current violence and current crisis happening. So since the 3rd May 2023, there has been a very deep gap in communication between the Kuki communities and the Meitei communities regarding peace talks and restoration of peace in Manipur. But after the 2 years and after a gap of 2 years and 2 months more, today, there is a joint meeting between the Valley-based Manipur CSOs, namely Kokomi Folk, Amukho, use them and invite them along with the 16 representatives that are believed to be from the Kuki CSOs. There are 16 representatives here. Among them, most of the members are from Thadao Inti. The Thadao community once just from the beginning, which was considered to be among the Kuki community as a whole, as a vast, considering the vast in a vast scale. So this talk, as further talk, today's first talk talks about the implementation of NRC, resettlements of IDPs, removal of all Kuki tribes from scheduled tribe status, and also regarding the safeguard of integrity of Manipur. This is as per my source, but it is yet to be, cross-checked officially. Within this hour, if all the representatives, many from the Thadao Inti, there has been a press release issued from the Thadao Inti in Manipur that today's event, which is termed as Road to Peace, Convenient of Coexistence on Community Understanding, in this meeting itself, this Thadao Inti Manipur is appealing to everyone not to turn them as Kuki. They are independent and they are, they appeal to term them as Thadao tribe only. Whatever, so whether it may be Thadao tribe only or whether it may be all from the Kuki CSO or whoever arranged this meeting, it is a very major development and it is a very significant step towards, towards the restoration of peace in Manipur. And I hope
this is the first step, and this will give a significant example to all the inhabitants of Manipur to bring peace and normalcy as soon as possible. Akansha.
Absolutely, Johnson. And do tell us more about the meeting as well. Is it still going on? And do you believe, and are the leaders there believing that the resolution between the two communities is possible?
Yes, Akansha. As of now, there is no official resolution about the meeting. But as per my source, the first session of the meeting has already ended, and some of the representatives from the very best case of Manipur have already left the meeting site. That is the Classic Hotel, which is located in Imphal itself. However, the representatives, which are believed to be from the Thadok Inti itself, are still inside the, still inside this meeting spot itself. That is Classic Hotel itself. So, if the resolution is about the, about bringing peace and normalcy in Manipur, yes, absolutely, the resolution will be acceptable and will be warm welcome by all the business people, by all the peace-loving communities that are in this step itself. But we don't know what outcome or what reaction will be coming from other Turkish CSOs regarding this Thadok Inti Manipur statement that we are appeal to term this as Thadok Inti, only not to use the term.
Absolutely. The first joint talks between the two communities is currently underway, is what Johnson is telling us. Thanks so much for all the details. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this. Now, shifting our focus, get ready for a game-changing movement. Republic TV is proud to present R4 Sports, a national campaign dedicated to discovering, celebrating and nurturing India's sporting spirit and spotlighting the heroes who carry India's hopes one match, one moment at a time. And from rising athletes to grassroots talent, R4 Sports brings their stories to the center stage with only one mission, and that is sports first and the nation first. And this is more than a campaign, it's a call to action. R4 Sports coming soon only on Republic TV. Now let's get you the top stories of the day in under 2 minutes. A landslide triggered by heavy rains in Shivalik Mountains range near Haridwar's Kali Temple has left debris strewn across the railway station and disrupting the rail movement as well. We're learning that cleanup efforts are underway, but they are facing repeated interruptions due to the rainfall, and with several trains likely to be delayed or cancelled, passengers are facing inconvenience. Delhi police have solved the case of chain snatching involving Congress MP Sudha, who was injured during the incident near Poland embassy in the national capital. The accused, a resident of Okhla in Delhi, has been arrested, and the stolen chain has been recovered from him. Over 500 CCTV footages have been scanned, and the scooty, the clothes used during the crime were also seized by the police. In a major breakthrough for the security forces, PLFI commander who was carrying a bounty of 15 lakh rupees on his head was killed in an encounter in the area in Jharkhand's Gumla district. The operation was launched against the extremist group, and a search operation is currently underway, is what we're learning in this region, to flush out any remaining operatives. The flying squad of State Excise Department seized foreign liquor worth 13 lakh in Panvel. This liquor was 8 different foreign brands, and which were in fact being smuggled under the guise of spare parts. 3 mobile phones have also been recovered from them. 2 accused have been sent to 4-day police custody. Supreme Court has ordered an interim stay in the legal proceedings against Elvish Yadav, who was booked for his involvement in a rave party where snake venom and other illegal drugs were supplied and consumed by a group. The court has issued a notice to the respondents seeking their response to Yadav's plea, who sought quashing of the charge sheet and summons issued against him. And now Shifting our focus, Air India has admitted disruption on 6 flights, releases a statement, and this is a statement that we will be getting for you. They have mentioned that they regret the inconvenience caused to the passengers due to operational disruption on 6 flights that were scheduled to depart on 5th of August. That is yesterday, caused by some maintenance tasks identified during pre-flight checks that in each case required additional time for rectification and making a change of the aircraft as well. In fact, what we're learning is that of the 6 flights, 1 was cancelled. That was from Delhi to Milan, and it was rescheduled for today. And 5 flights were delayed, including 1 due to unruly passenger on board who had to be disembarked before the departure. In all the cases, the ground team at the airport actively provided all the assistance to all the people, and there were, in some cases, full refunds were also given. So this is, in fact, the statement that has come in as far as repeated Air India snag is concerned. There was a technical snag on AI 320 that was going from Bhopal to Delhi. Main wheel found deflated. Now let's tell you about the other one, AI 2982 Delhi to Pune. Waist train valve lever was broken. AI 851 Delhi to Bagdogra, where the boarding was stalled due to the wing leak. And these are, in fact, the snags that have come to the fore, and again a templated statement that has been given by Air India. And with this, we're taking a very short break. Coming up on the other side, we'll tell you about the UPA era Augusta Westland scam, which is back in focus as Republic TV gets the first ever interview of Christian Michel.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा और प्योर मसाला। ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जीरा सिप MDH का जीरा सिप।
Mujawar has been a part of the ATS team that investigated this Malegaon case, and what he has to say today is explosive. He's breaking the silence. Mahmood Mujawar ji, thank you. शुक्रिया हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए. First of all, आपको ये फैसला आज सुन के क्या लगा? Do you think justice has finally been done in the case, Mujawar ji?
बहुत अच्छा लगा सर, कहीं तो न्याय हो गया। और ये न्याय मिलाने के लिए जो आपने जद्दोजहद की, जो आपने कोशिश की, वो सही में काम आई सर। खास करके मैं निरंजन स्वामी का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ, जिन्होंने मेरा कोई
Hello and welcome. You're watching Republic TV with me, Akanksha Khajuria. Get ready for a game-changing movement. Republic TV is proud to present Our for Sports, a national campaign dedicated to discovering, celebrating and nurturing India's sporting spirit and spotlighting the heroes who carry India's hopes one match, one moment at a time. And from rising athletes to grassroots talent, Our for Sports bring their stories to the center stage with one mission in mind, and that is sports first and the nation first. And this is more than a campaign, it's a call to action. Our for Sports coming only on Republic TV. Let's get started. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit China on August 31st to attend the SCO summit, his first visit after the Galwan clash.
I was very much aware of everything. There was no corruption in India. The corruption took place in Italy. It's an Italian political affair. It's got nothing to do with India.
Christian Michel makes huge admission of corruption in the interview with Republic TV. We'll get you all the details. Rahul Gandhi attacks government amid tariff war with the United States, alleges Prime Minister Modi silent on Trump because of inquiry on Gautam Adani. Amid India versus United States tariff war that is currently going on, NSA Doval is in Russia, expected to hold high-level talks there. NSA Doval is also, in fact, is in Moscow, is what we are learning. He will be having discussion with the Russian counterpart there. US President Donald Trump sends special envoy to Moscow as he targets India for the trade with Russia. Let's start with the Malegaon blast case, in which last week we saw acquittal as far as Sadhvi Pragya and Colonel Purohit is concerned. Now, what we're learning is that former Maharashtra Chief Minister Uma Bharti has met with BJP MP Sadhvi Pragya Singh Thakur and hailed her as Masiha. She has said that after facing 17 years of torture, Pragya is now free. Bharti demanded that those who coined the term saffron terrorism to defame Hindutva should be charged with treason. Is the comment that has come in from Uma Bharti, who's been the former Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister. She has come in support of Sadhvi Pragya. Let me give you a little bit of context here. Sadhvi Pragya was acquitted by the court in the 2008 Malegaon blast case last week, and after that she made series of comments in which she said that she was tortured. She was asked to name Prime Minister's name, even the name of the UP Chief Minister, to implicate them in the case, and name of several RSS leaders as well, and that she was tortured by the Maharashtra ATS as well. And she has said that it is a big slap on the face of those who had coined the term saffron terrorism, is the statement that has come in. And now the former Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Uma Bharti, she met with the BJP MP, former BJP MP Sadhvi Pragya Singh Thakur, and hailed her as a Masiha. Well, these are the visuals coming in of Uma Bharti meeting with Pragya Singh Thakur, and let's listen into what they said. All right, so there on your screens you can see the visuals of Uma Bharti meeting Sadhvi Pragya after a week after that a landmark judgment in the 2008 Malegaon blast case. Several, in fact, accused were acquitted in this case, and that includes Sadhvi Pragya Singh Thakur. She has been the former Bharatiya Janata Party MLA, and also acquitted in this case is Colonel Purohit as well. And they both had, after acquittal in the case, they had made some big revelation in this case. And now Uma Bharti, there on the screen you can see, meeting with Pragya Singh Thakur and coming in her support, calling her a Masiha.
चेहरे पर उनकी तपस्या का और उनके शौर्य का ऐसा तेज रहता है कि आप भावुक हो ही नहीं सकते, क्योंकि इतना सहनशीलता है उनके स्वभाव में और इतनी मीठी मुस्कुराती हैं वो। इसलिए मैंने आपको कहा ना, भावुकता के क्षण तो जब मैं उनको जेल में मिली तब भी ऐसे ही झमझम जेल में ला रही थी।
और आपकी आंखें भरी हुई दिखाई दे रही हैं।
हाँ, अपन तो इस मामले में मेरा इमोशनल क्वेश्चनिटी तो है, जिससे पूरी मेरी जिंदगी चलती है, भावुकता से। तो इसलिए लेकिन दीदी तो शौर्यवान है, शौर्य की साक्षात मूर्ति दुर्गा।
बहनों का मिलन है, आप हमेशा कहती हैं जब भी मिलती है तो।
मैं साध्वी तो नहीं हो सकती, उतनी तपस्या में नहीं कर सकती जितनी दीदी ने की है। मैंने तो अपने गुरु से संन्यास लिया है, लेकिन मैं ये कह सकती हूँ कि मैं उनकी आयु में बड़ी बहन हूँ और वैसे मैं उनको अपना मसीहा मानती हूँ।
17 साल का स्ट्रगल है, 17 साल की लड़ाई लंबी।
नहीं, ये तो हमेशा ही स्ट्रगल की हैं। जब स्टूडेंट लाइफ में थी तो भी अन्याय, शोषण, नारी अपमान के लिए ये हमेशा अपना शक्ति का प्रदर्शन करती थी और फ्रंट पे आ जाती थी। विद्यार्थी परिषद भी हमारा एक ऐसा स्टूडेंट विंग है जिसमें आपको संघर्ष करना पड़ता है। तो उसके बाद एक तपस्या का जीवन होता है। तो उसके बाद की जो संघर्ष की कहानी आप कह रहे हो वो तो प्रताड़ना की कहानी है, फिर प्रताड़ना के खिलाफ संघर्ष की।
जिन्होंने प्रताड़ित किया उनको सजा मिलनी।
अब उस पर कानूनी प्रक्रिया क्या है, वैधानिक प्रक्रिया क्या है, वो तो अपनानी होगी सरकार को या कुछ लोगों को।
आप क्या चाहते हैं इस फैसले के?
मैं ये चाहती हूँ कि जो शब्द का प्रयोग किया गया था भगवा आतंकवाद, और जिसको सत्यापित करने के लिए मालेगांव की घटना करवाई गई, और उस घटना में कुछ लोगों को जिस तरह से जोड़ा गया, जो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण लोग थे, मूर्धन्य लोग थे, जिनमें से दीदी प्रज्ञा एक थी, लेकिन इनके मुंह से जो नाम लेने के लिए इनको उत्पीड़न किया गया, उसके द्वारा पूरे हिंदू समाज को और पूरे देश को बदनाम करने की बहुत बड़ी साजिश थी। ये सारे नाम सामने आए और इन पर देशद्रोह का केस चालू होना चाहिए। इनके सब देश बहुत चिंतित थी जो धराली में घट गया है उसको लेकर के। मैंने तो आज एक ट्वीट जरूर किया है कि धराली और हरसिल की जो घटना है एग्जैक्टली वो ऊपर एक ताल है, उस पर भारी बारिश हो गई। बादल फटना कोई चीज नहीं होती जो फट जाती है, जोर की बारिश को बादल फटना कहते हैं। तो जोर से एक ही जगह पर मानसून गिर पड़ता है तो उसको कहते हैं बादल फटना। तो वो तालाब में भर गया और वो तालाब उगल गया, तो उगलने से वो मलबे को ढोता हुआ नीचे आ गया है। तो आज इसलिए मैंने ट्वीट किया है कि अब और उत्तराखंड में तालाब नहीं बनने देने चाहिए, जल भराव नहीं होने देना।
और दीदी आप मुलाकात करते करते आपको बनी थी, कई ऐसी तस्वीर सामने आई थी जी वहाँ पे, आप क्योंकि लंबा समय आप भी उत्तराखंड में आप रहे हैं, तो आपको इसके पीछे क्या सिर्फ यही वजह लग रही है या फिर अवैध निर्माण और ये भी कई सारी चीजें जिससे
वहाँ तो जो ऊपर से गिरा वहाँ कोई अवैध निर्माण नहीं था। और धराली जो गाँव है वो हजारों साल पुराना गाँव है। वो तो जो मैं आपको कही ना कि संयोग ऐसा हो गया कि वहाँ जोर से पानी भर गया, बारिश हुई जिसको बादल फटना कहते हैं, उसका मतलब होता है जोर से बारिश होना। और वो पानी एक खीर गंगा नदी है उसमें उसमें जोर से आ गया तो वो नीचे आ गया। लेकिन अन्य जो वहाँ भराव बन रहे हैं पावर प्रोजेक्ट पे, उसके लिए तो मेरे मंत्रालय ने ही एफिडेविट दिया था कि ये नहीं होने चाहिए, क्योंकि अगर एक तालाब से इतनी ट्रेजेडी हो गई है तो कभी उन तालाबों के ऊपर ऐसी घटना हो गई तो फिर तो पूरा उत्तर भारत ही संकट में पड़ जाएगा।
क्या है, लाइव नहीं है क्या?
All right, let me go across to my colleague Satya Vijay, who's been getting us all these details. Satya Vijay, इस केस में भी हम देख रहे हैं कि उमा भारती सपोर्ट में आई है साध्वी प्रज्ञा के। उनका भी कहना है कि इम्प्लीकेट करने की कोशिश की थी, किस तरह से प्रेशर करने की कोशिश की थी साध्वी प्रज्ञा को कि वो नाम ले किसी का। आरएसएस लीडर, प्राइम मिनिस्टर योगी आदित्यनाथ, वही सेम चीज आज उमा भारती ने भी रिपीट की और सपोर्ट में आई वो प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर के। और डिटेल्स दीजिए इस पे।
जी हाँ, बिल्कुल। देखिए, उमा भारती जो कि मध्य प्रदेश के पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री हैं, वो प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर से मिलने उनके बंगले पर पहुंची, चूंकि जिस दिन मालेगांव ब्लास्ट केस में, ये आप तस्वीरें भी देख रहे हैं, यहाँ पर हम आपको लाइव तस्वीरें दिखाते हैं कि जो उमा भारती हैं वो अब मुलाकात के बाद निकल रही हैं। मुलाकात के बाद उन्होंने करीब 1 घंटे की यहाँ पर प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर से मुलाकात की। और चूंकि जिस दिन ये फैसला आया था मालेगांव ब्लास्ट केस में, प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर को बरी किया था, उसके बाद उमा भारती भावुक हो गई थी। उन्होंने कहा था कि ये भगवा की रिहाई है। उन्होंने कहा था ये 7 जो आरोपी बनाए गए उनकी रिहाई नहीं, ये सनातन की रिहाई है, सनातन का सम्मान है। और फंसाने वाले जो लोग हैं, जिन्होंने भगवा आतंकवाद जैसा शब्द गढ़ा, उनके खिलाफ भी उमा भारती ने कहा था। और उसी दिन उन्होंने ये कह दिया था कि वो प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर से मिलने जाएंगी। यहाँ पर आपको हमने तस्वीरें दिखाई। देखिए, मुलाकात के बाद अब उमा भारती जो हैं वो निकल भी रही हैं। और साफ तौर पर उनका आज भी उन्होंने ये कहा कि वो प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर उम्र में उनसे छोटी हैं, लेकिन वो प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर को मसीहा समझती हैं, वो सनातन के सम्मान के लिए यहाँ पर आई हैं। और ये लाइव तस्वीर हम दिखा रहे हैं आपको कि मुलाकात के बाद अब उमा भारती यहाँ से निकल रही हैं। तो साफ तौर पर इन्होंने भी सपोर्ट किया है पूरी तरह से प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर का। ये जेल में भी उनसे मिलने गई थी और उन्होंने बताया था, उमा भारती का ये कहना था कि उन्हें प्रज्ञा ने जब मुलाकात हुई थी जेल में तो बताया था कि किस तरह प्रताड़ित किया गया, एटीएस ने किस तरह प्रताड़ित किया, किस तरह इनको नाम जबरन उगलवाने के लिए बोला गया। जो लोग इस वारदात में शामिल नहीं थे, ब्लास्ट में शामिल नहीं थे, उनके नाम लेने के लिए बोला। और इसीलिए उनका हौसला बढ़ाने, उनके सपोर्ट में आज उमा भारती प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर के बंगले पर पहुंची थी, उन्होंने आज फिर कहा कि जिन लोगों ने भगवा आतंकवाद जैसा शब्द गढ़ा उनके खिलाफ कठोर कार्रवाई होना चाहिए, देशद्रोह जैसी कार्रवाई होना चाहिए। साथ ही साथ उन्होंने यहाँ पर प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर के पैर छुए, उनको माला पहनाई और उनका सम्मान किया। और एक और तस्वीर आप दिखा रहे हैं यहाँ पर, देखिए जो प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर जो है वो मुलाकात के बाद अब अंदर जा रही हैं। हालांकि मीडिया से उन्होंने अभी फिलहाल दूरी बनाई हुई है, लेकिन उनका ये कहना है कि दीदी उनके नहीं, उनसे मिलने नहीं बल्कि सनातन के सम्मान में यहाँ पर आई हैं। और पूरी बातों को अगर जोड़ें तो जब फैसला आया था तो उमा भारती भावुक हुई थी, उनकी आंखों में आंसू थे और उन्होंने कहा था ये पूरे सनातन की जीत है। और दूसरी तस्वीर आज हमने दिखाई कि किस तरह उमा भारती प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर से यहाँ पर आकर मिली, उनके पैर छुए, माला पहनाई, सम्मान किया और उन्हें हिंदुत्व का, सनातन का मसीहा बताया।
Uma Bharti has come out in support of Sadhvi Pragya and called her a Masiha. In fact, stay with us, Satya Prakash. Let's have a look at the conversation you had with her just a while back.
हमेशा हमें प्यार देती रहती हैं और आज दीदी भगवा का सम्मान करने आई हैं, हिंदुत्व का सम्मान करने आई हैं और इसलिए बहुत बड़ा दिन है जो, और दीदी हमेशा से हिंदुत्व के लिए संघर्ष किया है उन्होंने। और जब भगवा अंदर था, जिस प्रकार से बदनाम करने का प्रयास किया और हम लोग सभी अंदर थे, तो दीदी ने उतनी जोर से आवाज उठाई जितनी जोर से समाज सुन सके। और दीदी मुझे नासिक मिलने भी गई थी और भोपाल जेल में भी मुझे मिलने गई थी। ये साहस किसी पुरुष ने नहीं दिखा पाया।
तो देखिए ये तस्वीरें हैं जहाँ पर उमा भारती जो है प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर से मिलने यहाँ पर उनके बंगले पर पहुंची हैं और उन्होंने कहा कि ये जो उमा भारती जो है वो सनातन के सम्मान के लिए यहाँ पर आई हैं, भगवा के सम्मान के लिए यहाँ पर आई है। और ये एक्सक्लूसिव तस्वीरें हमने दिखाई यहाँ पर कि दो साधवियों का मिलन यहाँ पर हुआ है।
सत्य विजय, आई वुड लाइक टू कम बैक टू यू वंस मोर। इस पे बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि सैफ्रॉन टेरर वाले एंगल पे उमा भारती और प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर ने बोला है, ये जो वर्ड है ये कॉइन हुआ था कांग्रेस के टाइम। अब उस चीज को काउंटर करते हुए बोला है कि ये सबसे बड़ा, इट्स अ बिग स्लैप ऑन द फेस ऑफ दोज हु कॉइन्ड दिस स्पेसिफिक टर्म। गिव अस मोर डिटेल्स अबाउट दिस।
या बिल्कुल, चाहे साध्वी प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर हो चाहे उमा भारती हो, सभी का ये कहना है कि कांग्रेस की उस समय गवर्नमेंट थी और भगवा आतंकवाद जैसा शब्द गढ़ा गया था, मुस्लिम वर्ग को खुश करने के लिए शब्द का उपयोग किया गया था, एक षड्यंत्र के तहत इसका उपयोग किया था। और ऐसे में अब ये जो फैसला है ये सनातन के सम्मान में है। कोर्ट ने ये साबित कर दिया है कि भगवा आतंकवाद जैसा कोई शब्द नहीं होता और इसीलिए ये भी प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर ने लिखित में भी दिया है कि जिन लोगों ने ये साजिश रची उनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई होना चाहिए, चाहे वो ATS के अधिकारी हों, चाहे वो परमवीर सिंह हो, चाहे वो दिग्विजय सिंह हो, चाहे वो चिदम्बरम हो। तो इसी कड़ी में भगवा आतंकवाद शब्द को लेकर जो है, और अभी आपको एक ये तस्वीर भी दिखा रहे हैं, प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर जो है यहाँ पर खड़ी हुई हैं। हालांकि उन्होंने बात करने से साफ तौर पर इनकार किया है, लेकिन
Alright, Satyajay, in fact, stay on with us. We have another breaking news coming in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to visit China to attend the regional summit SCO from August 31st to September 1st is what we're learning, and this will be his first visit to China since the Galwan clash of 2020. He last visited China in 2019, and discussion with the SCO members countries will cover regional security, terrorism and trade as well, and efforts will be made to restore the stability and dialogue between India and China, and to in fact once again revive the relationship between the two countries will be the focus of this visit as well. So this will be the Prime Minister's first visit to China after the Galwan clash. Let me go across to Senior Executive Editor Abhishek Kapoor, who joins us live on the broadcast with more details. Abhishek, this is the first visit of the Prime Minister after the Galwan clashes. In fact, the focus, what we're learning, will be on renewing the ties between the two countries. What more are you learning?
Well, you see, this is a multilateral visit for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Leaders Summit, and the Prime Minister is effectively going to be there for just a little more than 24 hours. He's going to be traveling into Tianjin from Tokyo. where there is a bilateral planned with Japan. So that's how the visit is going to pan out. Of course, it's significant because it's, as you rightly mentioned, happening. Prime Minister traveling to China is the first time after the Galwan clash, and we saw how India-China relationship went into a deep freeze, equally so because of the COVID pandemic. But coming out of the COVID also, the freeze remained. So, and the breaking of ice, so to say, happened last year during on the sidelines of the BRICS summit in Kazan, Russia. And since then, we have seen some momentum building up. Recently, it was decided that the two countries would re-establish air connectivity. China started or restarted Mansarovar, Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. There have been some concessions given from the Indian side in terms of re-engaging on the business side with the Chinese. So all those things have been happening. And so this is essentially a build-up to this meeting that's going to happen. Remember, again, this is a multilateral forum platform, and the two leaders are likely to have a small meeting on the sidelines since China is the host. This is also in preparation for the BRICS summit, of which India is going to be the host next year. And so if Prime Minister does not go this time, it will look bad, and then it becomes an option for the Chinese President Xi Jinping not to come to India. So all those diplomatic issues involved. But of course, this is happening at a time of considerable geopolitical flux. America under President Trump is going hammer and tongs against BRICS nations. And the fact that in Tianjin, not just Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping are going to be there, but President Putin is going to be there, so of course you can expect that there, even for optics' sake, that picture of the three leaders together is going to be a message to America about not pushing too much with the triangulation that President Trump has been about, pushing India, pushing Russia, pushing China in a manner that they come together. So I think in that sense, it's going to be an important visit, as much, of course, for the geopolitics as it is panning out, as also, of course, for the bilateral aspect of India-China relationship. Looking forward to it. Everyone, the leaders would be under intense focus and lens of the media. And the Chinese, of course, would want that Prime Minister Modi travel and have that photo op with Xi Jinping. And that seems to be happening finally.
Absolutely, a very important visit of the Prime Minister. In fact, one more question before I let you go, Abhishek Kapoor. I want to ask you, in fact, just 20 days back, External Affairs Minister was also there, and there he gave a tough message on terrorism, on Pakistan as well. Now, as far as the visit of the Prime Minister is concerned, what could be in focus?
Well, very good that you asked this question. So we have seen, because this visit is also, remember, happening in the immediate backdrop of Operation Sindoor and the Pahalgam terror attack, which led to the operation. And we have seen how the Chinese have, without making a statement, so visibly helped Pakistan to the extent that during those two meetings when External Affairs Minister traveled to China, Defense Minister traveled to China, National Security Advisor traveled to China as part of those format talks, the Chinese in the joint statements did not reflect or let Pahalgam be reflected. So in that sense, I think the Chinese have been very pro-Pakistan on this, very protective of Pakistan, very unfair to the India-China bilateral relationship. And hopefully when the two leaders meet, that would also be on the table to be discussed.
Will be on this very crucial visit of the Prime Minister. Thanks so much, Abhishek Kapoor, for all the details. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this. Now, shifting our focus, get ready for a game-changing movement. Republic TV is proud to present R4 Sports, a national campaign dedicated to discovering, celebrating and nurturing India's sports spirit and spotlighting the heroes who carry India's hopes one match, one moment at a time. And from rising athletes to grassroots talent, R4 Sports brings their stories to the center stage with only one mission in mind, that is sports first and the nation first. And this is more than a campaign, it's a call to action. R4 Sports coming soon only on Republic TV. In fact, we have a breaking news coming in. In a tragic incident near the metro project site in Bhiwandi, a 5 to 6 foot long iron rod fell from the under construction bridge near the police station there, and it pierced the head of a youth traveling in a moving rickshaw, leaving him injured is what we're learning. This is a breaking input that is coming in from Bhiwandi. The victim, identified as Sonu, a labourer residing in one of the compounds near Vitthal Nagar, was returning home after lunch in one of the areas near where this incident has taken place, and you can see those very concerning visuals coming to the fore from Bhiwandi, where this tragic incident has taken place near the metro project. And it appears that there was a laxity on the part of the authorities there. 5 to 6 foot long iron rod fell from the under construction bridge near the police station, and it hit on his head. Very concerning visuals coming in from there. Let me go across to my colleague Satya Prakash, who will be joining us for more on this story. Very tragic and very concerning visuals coming in. Satya, we can see that this man on the screen is clearly very injured. He was rushed to the hospital. What more are you learning about this? Because this is a clear case of laxity.
देखिए, भिवंडी का घटना है। मेट्रो 5 का काम चल रहा है और ये मेट्रो 5 का काम जहाँ चल रहा है, वहाँ पे जो मेट्रो स्टेशन का जो ब्रिज का पुल था, वहाँ पर ऊपर से सरिया नीचे गिरता है और जो ऑटो रिक्शा में बैठा जा रहा था पैसेंजर, ऊपर से गिरता है और 5 से 6 फुट का लोहे का सरिया सीधे सर पे घुस जाता है। कहीं भी साफ तौर से लापरवाही सामने आया कि इससे पहले भी यहाँ पे घटनाएं हो चुकी है। लोकल लोगों का कहना है कि पहले भी शिकायत किया जा चुका है, लेकिन प्रशासन ने कुछ कड़ा कदम नहीं उठाया। लेकिन जो घटना हुई, बहुत दर्दनाक घटना हुई। जिस तरह से ऊपर जो पुल है, जो ब्रिज का पुल, वहां सरिया गिरता है और नीचे ही ऑटो में सीधे गिरता है और सीधे जो यात्री था उसके सर के सीधे पार हो जाता है। 5 से 6 फुट का ये सरिया है और ये जो शख्स है, सोनू नाम है, 20 साल उम्र है और ये मजदूर है, उस इलाके में काम करता था। फिलहाल ये शख्स जो है एडमिट है, इलाज चल रहा है। लेकिन जो लोकल लोग हैं, साथ ही वहाँ के लोग हैं, उनका कहना है कि प्रशासन की कहीं गई लापरवाही की वजह से इतना बड़ा हादसा हुआ। पहले भी शिकायत किया गया है, लेकिन कहीं गई प्रशासन ने कोई कड़ा कदम नहीं उठाया, जिसकी वजह से हादसा हुआ। जी,
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Satya Prakash, for all the details. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this. Now, imagine going home after lunch and a rod falls on your head while you're traveling back to your home. And this is what has happened in that specific area. Very concerning visuals, and we will keep on getting more updates on this story as well. And meanwhile, we're shifting our focus. Massive explosion, in fact, took place at an oxygen plant is what we're learning as far as Punjab is concerned. And this took place in Mohali in Punjab, killing 2 and leaving several people injured. Here's a quick report.
A massive explosion took place at an oxygen plant in Punjab's Mohali district, leaving several people injured and raising fears of fatalities. The blast took place at the factory located in Phase 9 in the city. One of the workers said that at least 10 to 15 people were working inside the plant. High-tech gases and oxygen cylinders exploded and killed nearly 2 people named Asif and Devender.
9 बजे के करीब फेज़ 11 दी इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया, यहाँ पे हाईटेक कंपनी है, एक है, ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर्स प्रोड्यूस करती है। करीब 9 बजे आज एक मैसिव ब्लास्ट हुआ है। इसमें 2 एम्प्लॉयज़ की मौत हो चुकी है और 3 जने इंजर्ड है अभी तक। जब शिफ्ट चेंज हो रहा था 9 बजे के करीब, तब ये ब्लास्ट हुआ है। वी आर स्टिल फाइंडिंग आउट द रीज़न, प्रिलिमिनरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन चल रहा है जी। व्हेन वी गेट मोर इन्फॉर्मेशन वी लेट यू।
And now shifting our focus, Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde visited Parliament today is what we're learning in the national capital. And on this occasion, we're learning that he was welcomed by the members of Parliament from various parties. Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde from Maharashtra, along with all the Shiv Sena MPs, also met with the Union Home Minister Amit Shah in the national capital. We'll get you more details about what this meeting was all about. But have a look at those visuals coming in from the Parliament, where Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister, along with several other ministers are present. In fact, he was welcomed by members of parliaments from various parties is what we're learning. And then in the visuals, you can see Eknath Shinde having a conversation and a meeting with Union Home Minister Amit Shah. More details awaited about what the meeting was all about. But first, listen in to what Eknath Shinde said.
शुरू है और पिछले हफ्ते में मैं आया था
और पार्लियामेंट शुरू है तो मैं आते रहता हूँ। और हमारे सांसद जो है उनके साथ भी गृह मंत्री जी की मुलाकात हुई है। अभी कुछ हमारे सांसदों के कुछ उनके चुनाव क्षेत्र के काम थे, कुछ मुद्दे थे, उस पर भी चर्चा हुई। और कल एनडीए के बैठक में भी आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने गृह मंत्री जी के भी बारे में बहुत अच्छा कहा कि सबसे ज़्यादा गृह मंत्री का काम करने वाले अमित भाई और आगे भी बहुत काम करना है, तो उनका भी सम्मान करना था। और बाकी तो ठीक है, पार्लियामेंट शुरू है तो मैं आया हूँ यहाँ पर।
And in fact, this was a meeting that took place in the Parliament of India. Eknath Shinde, the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, was welcomed by the parliamentarians of all the party, and he had a meeting with the Union Home Minister there as well, speaking about the development of the state of Maharashtra. And with this, we're taking a very short break. Coming up on the other side, our focus will be back on the UPA-era Augusta Westland scam, as Christian Michel has broken his silence for the first time, and he has spoken exclusively to Republic TV. Christian Michel makes huge admission of corruption in an interview with Republic TV. We'll get you more details about this on the other side of this very short break. Stay with us.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार, विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ, 8 मिनट में तैयार, क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
This is Republic Jack Oliver's studio. Stay tuned for all the breaking news and updates. I am Tanisha Awasthi. Let's get started.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार, विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
The Indian economy has been the fastest growing G20 economy for 8 of the last 11 years. And those are the only 8 in the last 77 years, during which India has been the largest, has been the fastest growing economy among the G20. So during the years that Rahul Gandhi's family ruled India, India's per capita income was declining relative to the rest of the world. Just listen to that. The average income of an Indian was declining relative to the average income of every human on earth. That is a remarkably bad outcome for India to have had. If you want a dead economy, it is the Nehruvian Indira economy and the Rajiv economy. that was a genuinely dead economy. If you want an economy that is vibrant, this is that economy. The economy of India today under the Modi government is, in fact, the envy of the world. It may not be the envy of Donald Trump right now, but the simple fact is that the Indian economy is the fastest growing economy in the world. You can see this in the...
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
An investigation that was begun right here by the team that began Republic. We bring you an investigation in the Augusta Westland case that reopens the Augusta Westland case that started during the time of the UPA when questions were asked about the irregularities in the coming of 12 VVIP helicopters to India. When those questions were raised, we also had an investigation done right in Milan where our political editor followed Hashke. Aishwarya Kapoor was there following him. When Christian Michel was here in 2018, Aishwarya asked him those questions. And today, the only channel to get Christian Michel, the henchman who was dragged here from Dubai, the middleman who was here, answers questions and admits there was corruption. We go to the headlines, but this is a big focus right here on Republic TV. Prime Minister Modi to visit China on 31st August to attend SCO summit, his first visit after Galwan clash. Focus is back on UPA-era Augusta Westland scam as Christian Michel breaks silence in his first ever interview.
I tell you, there's no corruption that took place in India. And I was very much aware of everything. There is no corruption in India. The corruption took place in Italy. It's an Italian political affair. It's got nothing to do with India.
And we're seeing that first interview to my colleague Soumya Jaiswal, that unfiltered direct interview in which Christian Michel admits breaking his silence there was corruption in the UPA-era Augusta Westland scam. As rescue operations continue on war footing, it's a race against time in Uttarakhand where 50 people, 8 army jawans are missing. Rahul Gandhi attacks government amid tariff war, alleges Prime Minister Modi silent on Trump because of inquiry on Adani. Amid India versus United States tariff war, National Security Advisor Doval in Moscow expected to hold high-level talks. And US President Donald Trump sends special envoy to Moscow as he targets India for trade with Russia. Good evening. Welcome to Republic. I'm Ridhum. I'm also joined in the studio to explain the scam that was the Augusta Westland scam by my colleagues Rakshita and Akanksha. We're also going to go across to Soumya, who got us that big interview, and also to Aishwarya. Viewers, the UPA era scam, Augusta Westland, which was back then in the UPA era, the first exclusive interview that we're getting a headline, and we're also telling you in this mega exclusive interview, he accepts corruption in Augusta Westland case. Christian Michel tries to defend by saying corruption happened in Italy.
Mr. Michel, can you please, since the start of this investigation, there has been mention about bribing the intermediaries and certain politicians and bureaucrats. So who were those people? Can you give some names?
Well, let me tell you, there's no corruption that took place in India. And I was very much aware of everything. There is no corruption in India. The corruption took place in Italy. It's an Italian political affair. It's got nothing to do with India.
But the faxes and emails from that time suggest that you were in contact with certain bureaucrats and intermediaries here in India. You had spoken to CCS appointed spokesmen as well.
I tell you what, those emails and those faxes all came from Hashki, who created them, and he's admitted it in court that he lied, and he won't come here because he can't give any evidence because he's been lying, and that's why everybody got discharged and exonerated in the Italian Supreme Court, because there is not any corruption took place in India. It all happened in Italy.
So is it true that there was some form of communication with regards to eliminating the competition back then to secure this deal with India?
Only in a legal way. There was no.
Because you have mentioned about that in your emails, and with that. Were you in touch with the Gandhi family?
Absolutely not.
Madam, please.
Not in any way.
Sir, those who allegedly paid bribe are accused in the case.
Sir, those who have been named in the case, have you ever spoken to anyone?
No.
Any accused here?
No.
Madam, please.
Nor did they take
please.
So any names, any intermediaries you were ever in contact with?
Not in India.
Viewers, there were three middlemen. Hashke, who was very known for his links. He also had several dealings with the UPA. There was Christian Michel and there was Girosa, I remember. Guido Hashke, also of course SP Tyagi's name, who came. For understanding of what really happened, we're going to go across to Akanksha and Rakshita. Akanksha, what are the key details that you're picking up?
Absolutely. The man that you can see, in fact, as far as Christian Michel is concerned, he has been the face of the VVIP chopper scam. Let me take you through what this scam is all about. Let's take you back to when India signed this 3,600 crore contract with the Augusta Westland, and that is where, in fact, this scam case had originated.
And this was, of course, a chopper scam. So this was a deal on 12 AW101 helicopters, which would be used to ferry VVIPs. So you can understand that how expensive this could have been.
All right, let's tell you more about this case. Bribe worth 67 million were given to the middlemen as far as this case is concerned. And this is what the agencies have found out as far as the probe is concerned in this case.
And all those middlemen have been now, of course, Michel is in a very, very important part there in this deal, and the funds were routed through shell companies as it is done in several scams. These shell companies were in United Kingdom, in the UAE and also in Mauritius. In fact, there is also the important point that we have to talk about is the charge sheet, also the Augusta charge sheet, who all have been the key players, so to speak, as far as this entire case is concerned. Before that, before we go to the charge sheet and who all it doesn't mention, let's take a listen into some of the political reactions.
About it, see anything government has any free and fair inquiry, let them have it. We have no problem with that.
But when the accused himself is saying that yes, corruption has happened, don't you think now like too much this should be digged that what exactly happened? Because we have seen that how Gandhi's family name came out during the chopper scam and the deal as well, which happened in this case.
See, even Gandhi family name been brought into Bobar's case also. So that's unfairly actually BJP accused Rajiv ji. Finally, what happened during the BJP time? It's Vajpayee was the Prime Minister. The case has been closed by saying there is no evidence of such kind of frauds. But this is BJP government which closed the case. But you see the political witch hunt against Rajiv ji and our Congress party. The Congress party is not new to this kind of fake propaganda and witch hunt. Any corruption has happened only happening under Narendra Modi ji government. We strongly feel the corruption because of the Adani's got if US laws are tightened, Narendra Modi's friend Mr. Adani will be behind the bars in the US. That is why actually they are actually compromising with the national security of India and succumb to the pressure of Trump. It's corruption only with the BJP government and Modi government, nothing to do with Congress and its leadership. We are clean, we are here, we've been ages in this country. The people of the India seen us. We have sacrificed for this country. Indiraji, Rajivji given their lives. It's not a very ordinary family. Despite we've been fighting from the beginning in the independence movement, we are not like RSS people who collide with British and given a bad name to the country. We are not like that.
The charge sheet here.
ऑगस्टा वेस्टलैंड केस में आरोपी क्रिश्चियन मिकेल कह रहे हैं कि ब्राइबिंग जो हुई थी वो हिंदुस्तान में इटली में हुई थी, उस पर क्या कहेंगे?
अब उसको उसके प्रमाण क्या है सामने आने दीजिए, कोई दिक्कत।
वो तो कह रहे हैं कि ब्राइब तो हुआ था, करप्शन तो हुआ था, करप्शन की बात एक्सेप्ट की है।
मैं कह रहा हूँ करप्शन हुआ था, उसके कुछ एविडेंस होंगे, वो सामने आए तो उस पर कार्रवाई हो।
और आरोपी खुद सामने आके कह रहा है कि जो कुछ हुआ वो इटली में हुआ, हाँ करप्शन भी किया है, पैसे भी दिए हैं।
भाई मैं तो कह रहा हूँ कि उस पूरे मामले की निष्पक्ष जांच हो ना, सारे एविडेंस सामने रखे जाएं। अभी जैसे दिल्ली का उदाहरण ले लीजिए, सत्येंद्र जैन को कितना बदनाम किया गया, अब सीबीआई ने क्लोजर रिपोर्ट लगा दी। तो मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि जिस भी डील में कहीं कोई भ्रष्टाचार हुआ है उसके प्रमाण क्या है वो सामने आने चाहिए।
So who all have been named in the charge sheet is a very key point and key part of this story to understand. Now, 34 individuals in total have made it to the charge sheet, and many prominent names, even as big as the Indian Air Force chief, were named.
Absolutely, you're right. Prominent names have figured as far as this charge sheet is concerned. Foreign and Indian companies were also named, and several individuals as well.
And in fact, it also was filed, the charge sheet was filed under the PMLA. Of course, it's a money laundering case that was registered. PMLA is the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. And in fact, the former IAF chief, Akanksha, was also named. You know, SP Tyagi is the first Indian Air Force chief, in fact, to be named ever in a criminal case by the CBI.
Absolutely important to mention that both CBI and Enforcement Directorate, they are probing this case. SP Tyagi's cousin was also named in this charge sheet. Several others named in this charge, not just individuals, but also the companies, Rakshita.
And not just that, advocate Gautam Khaitan was also named in this charge sheet. So apart from the Air Force chief, Gautam Khaitan, the advocate, and there are other two names also, Akanksha, who's part.
Absolutely. Carlo and Guido was also charge sheeted in this case. Several other individuals as well, Rakshita.
Absolutely. Hashke was also made a witness later on. So yes, these are the important names that came up in this entire scam. It's a big defense scam that had come under scanner. Biggest scam, one of the biggest scams in UPA era. And Republic TV now, of course, getting you the first ever reaction from Michelle, from Christian Michelle, who has, for the first time on camera, admitted to corruption.
All right, as we're getting those details about what the Augusta Westland scam is, I want to go across to my colleague Shavan. Shavan, I remember each aspect of this story had been seen by us. We were talking about Gautam Khaitan. We were the first channel to get him. We went to his office. We tried to speak with him on this. We tried to get him on this, whether it was going to Milan or getting into those fancy houses where Hashke was there, Aishwarya tried to get them, whether it was the charge sheets filed by the CBI or the ED. Shavan, we're getting responses from the political parties, but this is a case, the VVIP chopper case, which you followed very closely. From your understanding of what the CBI and the ED have stated, how soon can we have some sort of people other than Christian Michelle also behind bars?
Well, in fact, just to reflect upon what we have reported so far over the last few years, in fact, the hearing that I attended back in Dubai when the case was being heard, one of the primary investigative agencies in this, that's the Central Bureau of Investigation, had then provided evidence to the nature of certain political assignments that were basically taken by Christian Michelle. In fact, a diary that was basically accessed by the Italian investigators was actually shared with the Central Bureau of Investigation. Now, what is this diary all about, and how exactly is it linked to this VVIP chopper scam? It basically dates back to the time when UPA was in power, and the fact that there was a proposal actually that had come in from the Indian Air Force with regards to buying of certain high-ceiling helicopters. In fact, specifications for procurement of these helicopters were thereafter actually changed to suit one particular company. Now, that was the charge that was leveled. And who was actually behind this? There were multiple middlemen. One of them happened to be Christian Michel, and it's important to point out here that not just Christian Michel, his father too, remember, has had direct links with the party concerned, and that is exactly what basically emerged during the course of the investigation. The other two, that is Guido Haschke as well as Carlos Jurosa, they too were part of this entire political consultancy, if I may say so, which has been referred in the charge sheets that have been filed, the Central Bureau of Investigation and the Enforcement Directorate. Now, what's the political consultancy all about? Now, this particular company based out of Italy was actually trying to push for a deal to take place in India. In fact, there was a trial that was actually done in Italy and some officials had actually flown down to Italy to test these helicopters. Now, what has essentially happened over a period of time is this. Multiple visits were actually made by Christian Michel to India, and in the process, multiple meetings took place with Indian officials and a certain political party. And important to point out here is that a direct charge was made that $362 million were actually spent on this particular case, and bribes were actually handed out to certain Indian officials. So much so, it has been documented in the CBI charge sheet that cash was put in packets and sent out by Christian Michel through his drivers to these Indian officials. So there was a quid pro quo that was essentially being spoken about. The Enforcement Directorate and the CBI basically based their entire investigation on certain documentation, digital evidence that they had gathered over a period of time, particularly about his role, that's Christian Michel's role. And it's important to point out here, even today, the CBI as well as the Enforcement Directorate have essentially contested this entire issue. The bail has been granted for on a different ground altogether. The very fact that he has spent about almost over 6 years behind bars, and the fact that the trial is basically underway. 75 witnesses are yet to be examined, which essentially indicates that the trial will continue for some more time. That is one of the primary grounds on which the bail was basically granted to Christian Michel.
Shravan, I'd like you to stay with us as we're joined by an esteemed guest, Dr. M.J. Augustine Vinod, one of the pilots who went to oversee and select the choppers Augusta Westland. And I also want to get in a sense from him as to what really happened, how the choppers were chosen, what was the corruption that later took place, because this became, like Shravan told us, the VVIP chopper scam. Sir, you went there to select. What was the procedure like? Did you see anything amiss in the start? Do you think this procedure and corruption began later?
Rhythm, I did not go to select. When we went not in 2008, and we were a group of officers who went as the first time. I remember in the meeting, we were looking for a helicopter, VVIP helicopter at that time. We've been looking for VVIP helicopter for quite some time, in fact. So that is the first time in 2008 when I went. It's the first time they mooted this idea that we also have a VVIP kind of helicopter, and would you like to look at it? So that was way before any of these things happened. So after that, many helicopters were shortlisted, and out of which this was the helicopter which was selected. We all are aware of the controversy. But what really good that came out of it, Rhythm, is the entire defense acquisition procedure, the document, all these, got sort of streamlined after that. You could not today have a single vendor situation in items where you don't have only single vendor. So, for example, helicopter or a fighter aeroplane or anything. So those kind of good things that came out of it. And I remember very clearly in 2013, I think, when that time Defense Minister A.K. Antony publicly admitted that, yes, there was corruption and the bribes were paid out. So kudos to him. That and everyone is aware how clean he was, Mr. A.K. Antony. So He, standing in the floor, I think on the floor of the parliament, he admitted to, bribery has having taken place. It's in itself is a very, very big thing. In fact, that set the ball rolling with them to change the books, change the acquisition procedures, and everything was rewritten post 2014 when the Modi government, Modi 1.0 formed. And today you cannot do it because that is again a good thing that happened. Since then, we don't see any single vendor situation happening. And the obvious question you'll ask me is, how did we end up in a single vendor situation? The answer to that question is that it is possible to make a certain qualitative requirement where only one person is qualifying. Say, I am Rhythm, say, a manufacturer of a black color reading glass, and you want a reading glass. You can send out a requirement as I want a reading glass, or you can send out as a requirement as I want a black reading glass which is of so much length and so much width only. Then only I will qualify and I will be able to sell you this black color glass, isn't it? So something like that existed pre 2013,
Yes.
doesn't exist post 2014.
And,
so that
and
is,
you know, when we're talking
that's
about
a
this
good thing
case,
that
I
came.
also remember we were the only team of journalists that even in 2014 had been investigating this. I remember the names at that time that we're talking about, Fin Mechanica, and what we were talking about was very new at that time. But that's when we started the investigation. I pursued Gautam Khaitan. I tried to understand from him what happened. We tried to pursue Hashke. We were in Milan at that time. In India, we tried to pursue in 2018 when Dubai gave orders that, Christian Michel would be brought here. We tried to pursue him. So when today there is all this talk about corruption, I also remember, in fact, I'd like to play out, even if it's possible in a few minutes from now, our editor-in-chief had asked this question to the Prime Minister also in an interview when he spoke about this case. Christian Michel was dragged back in 2018. But before we go across to that, and I thank Group Captain Augustine Vinod for being with us. Republic also, sir, is the only channel which had tracked and confronted Christian Michel when he was extradited in 2018. Take a look at that exclusive confrontation.
This is the cavalcade. These are the cars carrying Christian Michel. This is the security protocol. This is the security protocol. You are going to see more and more cars on your screens right now. And that is Christian Michel. First visuals on your screen. Christian, would you want to speak? Christian, would you want to speak? Christian, have you turned an approver? Christian, would you give facts? Christian, would you give facts? Christian, would you give facts to India? Christian, would you give facts? Christian, would you give facts at last? Christian, would you tell the truth? Christian, would you tell the truth? Christian, will 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 you tell the truth about those names? Christian, will you tell the truth about the names? What are you doing? Christian, will you tell the truth about the names? Christian, Michel, Niranjan not going. The class is covered. Yes, Christian, will you tell the truth about the family? Christian, and that's the car getting in. Christian Michel, first visuals on your screen, Niranjan, here on Republic. The cavalcade gets in. You have the senior CBI officials right there accompanying. It's an 8-car cavalcade entering the CBI headquarters.
We promise you the channel that investigated is the channel that's reopened this case, is also the channel that's going to get it back into its conclusion. The other top focus viewers today, Trump's special envoy landed in Moscow, received by Putin's special representative. This comes as Trump threatens India of substantial increase in tariffs over trade with Russia. Meanwhile, India's national security advisor, Ajit Doval, is also present in Moscow for a pre-planned visit. We're also getting details about that as Putin's representatives receive the US envoy. Rahul has also attacked the government over this tariff, but we're also now being told, as our Meanwhile, the US President Donald Trump reacted to India, citing the United States doing trade with Russia and yet criticizing New Delhi for doing business with Russia. He said he doesn't know anything. He also said he'll have to check, but he'll get back. He said this in reply to a reporter. Listen in.
India says that the US imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers, while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that. Yeah, please.
India says that the US imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers, while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that. Yeah, please.
India says that the US imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers, while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that. Yeah, please.
India says that the US imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers, while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that. Yeah.
Viewers, just a short while back, we also broke the news of the Deputy Defense Minister, Colonel General Alexander Foreman in Russia, who had a meeting with Vinay Kumar, our ambassador. And also, in this meeting, the two sides discussed the issues of bilateral cooperation as NSA Ajit Doval lands in Moscow to bolster the strategic partnership. It becomes very crucial also after there have been everyday tweets by Donald Trump on India and the tariff threat that Donald Trump has been giving. Now, India's NSA's visit in Moscow is going to be to discuss strategic partnership and defense ties with Russia. Remember, this was pre-planned, but this gains added significance as the US President Donald Trump on Monday has announced fresh tariff threats against India, accusing New Delhi of profiting from Russian oil. I want to go across to the guest who's now joining us on the story. Akash Jindal, economist, is joining us. Welcome, Akash. I want to understand from you, how do you see the power dynamics now play out? There is a constant tweet, a constant deadline being given by Donald Trump. India's having bilateral relations and strategizing with Russia. An already pre-planned visit of Ajit Doval is taking place. And at the helm of it is also the US president making all this noise about India taking Russian oil.
See, now what is happening is US has been announcing tariffs and deadlines, but it has always been postponing and extending. Now, just some days ago, there has been fresh data in the US which clearly tells that if some economy has been hardest hit by the tariffs, it is the US economy itself. Number one, unemployment has increased in US. Number two, growth has slowed in US because of tariff. Unemployment has increased in US because of tariff. Thirdly, now because of tariffs, inflation in US has increased. So now US citizens are being hurt because of tariffs. I think now US policymakers would realize that their own country is being significantly impacted. And we have to make another chart wherein we have to see how much tariff US has announced and how much have been actually implemented. India also, we all know there have been dates after dates, deadlines after deadlines. But what has happened to the deadlines? What about the implementation of the tariffs?
Precisely.
That's the prime question.
And as I let you go on that, Mr. Jindal, thank you for being with us. It's also India that is now being backed by Russia. But this is a very clear and a strong India and a prime minister that knows it's India's national interest first. We leave you with that. Thank you for joining us. And coming up after a short break, we get you more details of Prime Minister Modi's visit to China on 31st August to attend the SCO summit, his first visit after the Galwan clash. And we get you details of the rescue operations that are on a war footing in Uttarakashi. It's race against time where 50 people, 8 army jawans are missing. Back after a short break.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
Mujawar has been a part of the ATS team that investigated this Malegaon case, and what he has to say today is explosive. He's breaking the silence. Mahmood Mujawar ji, thank you. शुक्रिया हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए. First of all, आपको ये फैसला आज सुन के क्या लगा? Do you think justice has finally been done in the case, Mujawar ji?
बहुत अच्छा लगा सर. कहीं तो न्याय हो गया, और ये न्याय मिलाने के लिए जो आपने जद्दोजहद की, जो आपने कोशिश की, वो सही में काम आई सर. खास करके मैं निरंजन स्वामी का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ, जिन्होंने मेरा कोई तुम्हारे चैनल से कोई संबंध नहीं था, मगर मेरे को ढूंढ के निकाल के आपने अपने स्टूडियो में बुलाया था, और बुला के मेरे को पूछ के सही तरीके से मेरा इंटरव्यू लिया था सर. उसका काम हो गया और अच्छा काम हुआ. उसके अंदर सही तरीके से सही जजमेंट, सही एविडेंस, और जो
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने.
The Indian economy has been the fastest growing G20 economy for 8 of the last 11 years. And those are the only 8 in the last 77 years, during which India has been the largest, has been the fastest growing economy among the G20. So during the years that Rahul Gandhi's family ruled India, India's per capita income was declining relative to the rest of the world. Just listen to that. The average income of an Indian was...
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
A very good evening, viewers. You're watching the latest edition of 6 Stories at 6 with me, Rakshita Mishra. The top story of the day is, of course, NSA Ajit Doval in Moscow. Important talks underway in Moscow, and all this amid Trump tariff threats and his tantrums over Russian oil imports to India. Story number 2, again, it's Donald Trump and his double standards. When confronted on the double standards, on the duplicity, he maintains silence. He pretends to be completely unaware of what US is actually trading with as far as Russia is concerned. Story number 3 is Prime Minister Modi is going to be in China very, very soon this month, and this is coming in after 7 long years after the Galwan clash. And the story number 4 on 6 Stories at 6 is the flood fury in Uttarkashi. Republic TV reporting from Ground Zero. Will get you all the latest updates as far as the rescue operations that are concerned from the state. Also, another story, the big Republic exclusive on Augusta Westland scam, the Augusta Westland case. Republic TV is the only channel to get you the interview of Christian Michel. And finally, we'll also tell you what Vijay Deverakonda has said after he was grilled, or before he was grilled by the ED in the betting app case. First, of course, we start with NSA Doval in Moscow, viewers. Despite Trump's threat to substantially raise the US tariffs on India over Russian oil's import, India has shown that it is not in a mood to back down. It will not back down. And in a direct counter to Trump, now National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is in Moscow for a visit focused on strengthening India's defense and energy ties. Of course, it's a pre-planned visit, let's be very clear, but it becomes more significant in the backdrop of what's been happening between Washington, D.C. and New Delhi. Now, it becomes more significant now given the heightened tensions between India and the US over Trump's renewed threat to increase tariffs on imports from New Delhi over his purchases of Russian oil. But what's interesting is that Trump's aide, Steve Witkoff, is also in Moscow. Now, is that a coincidence? We do not know. We have Krutad joining us live on the broadcast from Krutad. Well, it's important to understand that there is a defense as usual when it comes to any meeting with Russia. That will be on focus, but at the same time, you know, all eyes, and I'm sure Donald Trump has his eyes on what's happening in the meeting between NSA Doval and the Russian representatives.
Indeed, Rakshita, and it is a very important moment. It's going to be a very busy day in Moscow, where NSA Ajit Doval is meeting Russian President Vladimir Putin. Of course, on the agenda is going to be India's imports of Russian oil. Yesterday, we saw Dmitry Peskov, who's the spokesperson of President Putin, also come out in support of India and said that every sovereign nation has the right to choose their own trading partners. So this conversation is obviously going to happen in that regard, with India securing not just its strategic oil imports, but also deepening its partnership also with the deliveries of S-400 systems and other defense cooperation that also go together between India and Russia. What is interesting is that Stephen Witkoff is now also landing in Russia. Now, Witkoff is a very close aide and advisor of Donald Trump. He was in fact dispatched to the Middle East recently, where he was mediating between the Hamas and the Israeli government to come to a ceasefire agreement, which is presently in place, and the manner in which the entire situation in Middle East has been brought under control. It is very interesting that now he is in the Moscow right now, because there are two aspects of it. Obviously, first, the nuclear treaty of which Russia walked out of, and the manner in which now small and medium range missiles will be operationalized by Russia in the Ukrainian theater of war is an increasing concern. Secondly, the threats made by former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev that have sort of irked President Donald Trump, which also led to 2 nuclear submarines being deployed by the United States in appropriate regions around Russia. So tensions between...
Thanks so much for joining us. We also have Alok Bansal, who is a strategic affairs expert, joining us. Mr. Bansal, of course, this is a very interesting development that is coming in. All eyes will be on if at all there are any talks that will happen as far as the oil imports are concerned, because 40% of India's crude oil supply comes in from Russia, and India has made it very clear that it is not going to bow down. No pressure tactics, at least till now, have worked as far as New Delhi is concerned.
See, there is no doubt. I think India has made it very clear that our national interests are supreme, and no third country can dictate to us what we should do and what we shouldn't do. But what is interesting is that while NSA is in Russia, you also have US representatives also visiting Moscow. So one doesn't know in case there is going to be a trilateral dialogue or something like that, which is working out. But primarily, I think India wants to consult Russia to be able to withstand this new threat that has emanated.
Thanks so much, Mr. Alok Bansal, for joining us on Republic TV with your insights on that story. We were now staying with Donald Trump and his tantrums. Now, he had cited, remember, India-Russia trade ties and the Russian oil deal as an excuse to substantially increase tariffs paid by New Delhi. But the ironic moment was when Trump dodged a question on United States imports of uranium and fertilizer trade from Russia, a point New Delhi has highlighted to, in fact, show how Washington indulges in double standards. It unfairly targets the countries that have trade links with Moscow, while it itself continues trade with Russia. Trump might say this, but since January 2022, viewers, let us tell you, US has imported $24.51 billion of Russian goods. In 2024 alone, Washington imported fertilizers worth $1.27 billion, uranium and plutonium worth $624 million, palladium worth around $878 million from Moscow. We'll just play out that graphics for more information, connected graphics to what I just said, because Trump's obsession with India is very much visible. Before that, we would in fact play out that bite when he was asked a question, when Trump said he does not know about the Trump. And before that, we will just point out to you how there has been trade ties with Europe as far as Russia is concerned, and the US-Russia trade ties is something that everybody is aware of. But Trump is actually using it to, in fact, threaten India with tariffs, that if India does not stop the imports from Russia, the oil imports from Russia, it will increase. And remember, that 24-hour deadline is going to end very, very soon that he had in fact given out yesterday. Now take a listen into what Trump said.
India says that the US imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers, while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that. Yeah, please.
India says that the US imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers, while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that. Yeah, please.
India says that the US imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers, while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that. Yeah, please.
India says that the US imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers, while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that. Yeah, please.
India says that the US imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers, while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that. Yeah, please.
India says that the US imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers, while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll...
The big story that we're tracking for you is Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was all set to visit China for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit from 31st August to 1st of September. This will be Prime Minister Modi's first visit to China after the ties came under severe strain since the Galwan clash in 2020 along the line of actual control, the Galwan clash in eastern Ladakh. And now, viewers, this is happening after 7 long years. He's also set to visit Japan on the 30th of August for bilateral talks as well. So this is very significant given how there has been what we see ostensibly a thaw in the ties between the two countries. But of course, there are many other issues that need to be addressed as far as China is concerned, viewers. In fact, we are being joined by our geopolitical expert, strategic affairs expert, Patrick Payne on the broadcast for more on this. Very good evening, very good evening, Mr. Payne. And this is, of course, Prime Minister's first visit since the Galwan clash. Now, we've seen that while there have been attempts on both sides to normalize the ties, this is coming in the backdrop of, China's very evident role, which India has also called out in aiding Pak during Operation Sindoor, how it continued to supply, militarily or even intel-wise to Pakistan, and also how the joint resolution was not signed during the Defence Ministers' Summit. What do we expect from this visit now?
Well, there is no denial of the fact that there are major areas of differences that India has with China. It is a known fact that China is almost like the invisible hand helping Pakistan in every way. But at the same time, if you look at the dynamics of the Indo-China relationship, from where it was at its nadir in 2020 Galwan crisis, to that extent, I think it has reached a better position. It doesn't mean that things are hunky-dory, but I think India is still willing to engage now because enough demonstration has been given to China that if push comes to a shove, India is pretty well capable to take care of itself and do certain things which will be not so likable for China. So I think the relationship is reaching a stage of equilibrium where China would be compelled in certain ways to accept India's territorial integrity and the fact that India is no pushover, that they have understood. So even though it is a reality that in Pakistan, there is a clear and present Chinese hand, I think India has also made it very clear that if they continue doing so, then India also has the option which it has started exercising in terms of arming some of the bétenoir and rivals of China in the South China Sea, which includes Philippines and Vietnam.
And viewers, the monsoon is unleashing its fury in several parts of the country. The latest, of course, is the flood fury in Uttarakhand's Uttarkashi. Cloudburst triggered flash floods, mudslides, landslides, and it has swallowed an entire village of Dharali. And viewers, we will show you all the visuals that have been coming. We'll go straight to the visuals that show the giant waves of water that have gushed through the area, how they've swallowed all the villages. And you can see the rescue operation that have continued despite the the inclement weather, despite the landslide, because those landslides have been blocking the important connecting roads to the flood-affected areas. This is a very, this is a visual, this is a drone visual that you see from Dharali of Uttarkashi. Horrific cloudburst triggered this, this flash flood that has washed away at least 40 homes. There are many people who are still missing. Several army personnel whose camp had hit also during the flood are also missing. The rescue operations continue. The ITBP, Indian Army are present on ground zero, leading the joint rescue mission. In fact, my colleague Akil Jamil has spoken to the ITBP on the and also the NDRF on the rescue efforts. Listen in.
What is the current status of the operations which has been going on?
As of now, the information we have is that 4 persons are said to be dead in this incident, and about more than 50 are reported to be missing. At present, at the disaster site, we have the army columns, ITBP, SDRF, BRO, and the local administration. They are undertaking the rescue and relief operations, and about 150 locals have been evacuated to safer places. The medical camps have also been established, and they are being given the required support.
How many NDRF teams have been dispatched?
3 NDRF teams, have been dispatched for the site, and they are on way because of the landslides, continuous landslides on the this Rishikesh Uttarkashi highway. The movement has been impacted. The repair of the road is being undertaken, and the movement is in progress, though it is a bit slow, and we are hopeful that we will be reaching soon.
What are the difficulties NDRF team is facing currently during this rescue operation?
At present, because as the weather is very inclement, so that is one of the issues, and that will actually impede the progress. And we are just very eager to see that as soon as the weather improves, our teams can also be airlifted, and the movement by road is also effected as early as possible.
We are at the headquarters, so we can certainly see these big screens have been placed over here, and you have been constantly monitoring this situation. How long this operation will continue to save those people who have been over there under the debris?
So as you can see, this is a large area, which has been covered in the disaster. So definitely the impact is large. So it will take some time, for the teams to actually go there, appreciate the situation, and try to retrieve, all the missing people, identify them. So definitely it will be a long-run process.
Could you please give us any estimation of the infrastructure damage which took place during this entire incident of cloudburst?
We don't have the exact details, but the information we have from the media is that lot of shops, the homestays, commercial complex, and residential places have been razed to the ground.
And my colleague Ratan Negi is joining us live from the flood side. Ratan, हमें बताएं कि ताज़ा क्या हालात है उस वक्त जहां पर आप मौजूद हैं उत्तरकाशी में?
देखिए, रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन ने यहाँ पर तेजी पकड़ी हुई है। भटवाड़ी जो हेलीपैड है वहाँ से लगातार मौसम खुलने के बाद एसडीआरएफ और एनडीआरएफ के जवानों को लगातार हर्षिल ग्राउंड जीरो पर पहुँचाया जा रहा है। मैं आपको दूसरी तरफ यहाँ पर दिखा रहा हूँ, बरसात ऊपर लगातार हो रही है, और देखिए नदी का जलस्तर लगातार बढ़ रहा है। आप देख सकते हैं ये लगातार उफान में यहाँ पर गंगा का जलस्तर लगातार बढ़ता जा रहा है, क्योंकि आप देख सकते हैं गंगा किनारे जो गाँव है उनको यहाँ पर खाली कराया जा चुका है। मुख्यमंत्री धामी ने उत्तरकाशी से लेकर भटवाड़ी तक के लोगों को यहाँ पर साफ कहा है, जो नदी किनारे जिनके घर है उन्हें खाली यहाँ पर कराया जा चुका है। इसके साथ ही अधिकारियों को 24 घंटे अलर्ट पर रहने के लिए कहा। आप देख सकते हैं किस तरह से गंगा का जो जलस्तर है वो लगातार यहाँ पर अब बढ़ रहा है। ये जलस्तर तभी बढ़ता है जब ऊपर बरसात होती है, तो आप समझ सकते हैं ऊपर लगातार बरसात हो रही है, तो इसलिए गंगा का जलस्तर बढ़ रहा है। अगर अभी तक बात की जाए तो 170 लोगों को यहाँ पर सकुशल उनका रेस्क्यू किया जा चुका है। और लगातार अभी जो बात निकल कर आ रही थी कि केरल और मुंबई के, अगर हम एक बड़ी दर्शकों को बड़ी जानकारी दे दें, केरल मुंबई का ग्रुप 28 लोगों का जो ग्रुप था वो गंगोत्री घूमने गया था। उनमें से दीपक कुमार जो हरिद्वार के रहने वाले हैं, टूर ट्रेवल्स का काम करते हैं, वो सकुशल उनको एसडीआरएफ भटवाड़ी लाई है। उन्होंने ये जानकारी दी है कि केरल और मुंबई का जो ग्रुप था वो 27 के 27 लोग सुरक्षित है। ये बड़ी खबर हमारे पास है, और सभी वहाँ पर जो भैरव घाटी जगह है वहाँ पर वो सुरक्षित है। इसके साथ ही एसडीआरएफ ने रेस्क्यू कई लोगों का किया है जिनको सुरक्षित भटवाड़ी लाई है। वो सभी खबरें रिपब्लिक भारत के पास है। उन्होंने बताया है कि वहाँ पर प्रशासन ने व्यवस्था की है, सेना के जवान लगातार काम कर रहे हैं। आपको देखिए हालात में उन्होंने यहाँ पर
rifles will in fact the column officer. He's leading the charge as far as the rescue operations are concerned. Thank you so much, Ratan Negi. We'll come back to you later on also to get more updates. But Colonel Harshvardhan also spoke about, he's the column commander of Rajputana Rifles, and he joined us on the rescue operations. Now, if Colonel Harshvardhan, you could tell us what's been happening at the site. You've been leading the operations. If you could just tell us about what's the latest, what has been carried out so far, how the operations have been carried out so far.
I'm Colonel Harshvardhan. I'm leading the rescue and relief efforts at Harshil and Dharali. The calamity had occurred yesterday noon around 1:40. Immediately we had moved 2 rescue columns of a strength of 150 at the Dharali village. And in the next 5 to 10 minutes we were effective there. Around 110 to 120 villages were rescued to safety, and they were evacuated to higher reaches of the region so that they are safe. The army camp subsequently was also struck by a flash flood and a massive mudslide around 3:30 hours. Our column got cut off from both the sides. However, we pressed on with the efforts, and the rescue efforts continued throughout the nights. Around 50 to 60 laborers who were working here in various capacities were evacuated, and they were kept with the column only. This morning we established contact and created makeshift crossings connecting Dharali to Mukhwa village, and also established a makeshift crossing to Harshil. The drones were also pressed into the efforts. We could locate one dead body that was retrieved this morning. Members of the civil administration, police who were there with us, they were also moved to Harshil safely this morning. And around 70 to 80 civil laborers and civilians who are stuck in the region have also been rescued and brought to the Army Harshil camp. These are in addition to around 100 civilians who stayed at the Army Harshil camp throughout the night, and they were rendered first aid and hot meals there at the night.
And what is the strategy, if you could just shed some light on the future strategy for coming in for the operations?
Further, we plan to induct some additional columns. Initially, they will be foot-based because the expanse of the mudslide is massive, and at various stretches, the route is completely inundated. So we are just creating new mountain trails to reach the affected areas. The drones have already been employed to locate missing persons. One missing person, a dead body, was located today morning, and it has been retrieved. And the drones are presently being employed to track balance of the survivors. Helicopter efforts will be pressed in as soon as the weather clears for immediate casualty evacuation to Dehradun.
Shifting focus now, viewers, we get you the man who has been the face of the VVIP chopper scam, the man who was extradited in 2018 for a Congress-era, UPA-era corruption case. And now, Christian Michel himself has broken his silence after 17 years with Republic TV. Republic TV puts the toughest questions before Christian Michel on record, from Gandhi family links to UPA payoffs to why the email suggested that he was in touch with Indian bureaucrats. Listen in.
So Mr. Michel, can you please, since the start of this investigation, there has been mention about bribing the intermediaries and certain politicians and bureaucrats. So who were those people? Can you give some names?
Well, let me tell you, there's no corruption that took place in India. And I was very much aware of everything. There is no corruption in India. The corruption took place in Italy. It's an Italian political affair. It's got nothing to do with India.
But the faxes and emails from that time suggest that you were in contact with certain bureaucrats and intermediaries here in India. You had spoken to CCS appointed spokesmen as well.
I tell you what, those emails and those faxes all came from Hashki, who created them, and he's admitted it in court that he lied, and he won't come here because he can't give any evidence because he's been lying. And that's why everybody got discharged and exonerated in the Italian Supreme Court, because there is not any corruption took place in India. It all happened in Italy.
So is it true that there was some form of communication with regards to eliminating the competition back then to secure this deal with India?
Only in a legal way. There was no.
Because you have mentioned about your about that in your emails, and with that, were you in touch with the Gandhi family?
Absolutely
or
not.
Madam, please.
Not in any way.
Sir, those who allegedly paid bribe are accused in the case of
Sir, those who have been named in the case, have you ever spoken to anyone?
No.
Any accused here?
No.
Madam, please,
Nor did they take any
So any names, any intermediaries you were ever in contact with?
Not in India.
My colleague Shambhavi joins us live in the broadcast. Shambhavi, of course, it's again in an agenda-setting interview that Republic TV has brought to its viewers. And the first time, Michelle has admitted that there was corruption in this Augusta Westland scam case, one of the biggest scams in UPA era.
Definitely, and it is very important to understand the entire his entire legal journey after he was extradited from Dubai to India in 2018. He has been in custody for both CBI and ED under the charges of corruption as well as money laundering, and he was granted bail on both the cases. First, in the trial under Central Bureau of Investigation, he was granted bail in February. In this year itself, and then the reason that Supreme Court gave that he has been detained for over 6 years now without trial, and investigation delays mean that it could take decades. And again, in the ED money laundering case that he was under custody for, Delhi High Court granted bail in the same case, saying that it of course be subject to conditions like periodic. So he has got relief from both Supreme Court, Delhi High Court in both the cases that he was very actively involved in. And even this year in May, Supreme Court dismissed his appeal now, which was against the conditions requiring a local residential address. And very recently, his children also wrote to the Prime Minister of India requesting that he should be released.
Right, yes. Shambhavi, thank you so much for those inputs. That's all the time we have, viewers, on this edition of 6 Stories at 6. We'll be right back with Live and Breaking.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा और प्योर मसाला। Play it your way. Sarah, this is your space. Play it your way.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
Sports isn't just about medals and podiums. It is about heartbreak, challenges, and discipline. It is also about leaders choosing sport to empower the community to live longer and healthier. I congratulate my friend Arnab and R4 Sports for championing these untold stories that we all need to hear and learn from. Here's wishing R4 Sports all the best.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
Mujawar has been a part of the ATS team that investigated this Malegaon case, and what he has to say today is explosive. He's breaking the silence. Mahmood Mujawar ji, thank you. शुक्रिया हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए. First of all, आपको ये फैसला आज सुन के क्या लगा? Do you think justice has finally been done in the case, Mujawar ji?
बहुत अच्छा लगा सर. कहीं तो न्याय हो गया. और ये न्याय मिलाने के लिए जो आपने जद्दोजहद की, जो आपने कोशिश की, वो सही में काम आई सर. खास करके मैं निरंजन स्वामी का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करता हूं, जिन्होंने मेरा कोई तुम्हारे
This is Republic Jack Olival Studio. Stay tuned for all the live and breaking news updates. I'm Deepak Suresh Kumar. Let's get started.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार. MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला.
Sarah, this is your space, play it your way.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार.
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला. भारत की अपनी दुकान इंडिया सोना, अपने देश का सामान इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार. MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला.
The Indian economy has been the fastest growing G20 economy for 8 of the last 11 years. And those are the only 8 in the last 77 years, during which India has been the largest, has been the fastest growing economy among the G20. So during the years that Rahul Gandhi's family ruled India, India's per capita income was declining relative to the rest of the world. Just listen to that. The average income of an Indian was declining relative to the average income of every human on earth. That is a remarkably bad outcome for India to have had. If you want a dead economy, it is the Nehruvian Indira economy and the Rajiv economy. That was a genuinely dead economy. If you want an economy that is vibrant, this is that economy. The economy of India today under the Modi government is in fact the envy of the world. It may not be the envy of Donald Trump right now, but the simple fact is that the Indian economy is the fastest growing economy in the world. You can see this in the IMF's latest forecasts. They are very modest forecasts, but in fact, the economy of India has grown at an average annual pace of 8.2% in real terms every year for the past 4 years.
Mr. Modi to visit China on 31st August to attend SCO summit, his first ever visit after Galwan clash. Focus back on UPA era Augusta Westland scam as Christian Michel breaks his silence in his first ever exclusive interview.
Took place in India. And I was very much aware of everything. There is no corruption in India. The corruption took place in Italy. It's an Italian political affair. It's got nothing to do with India.
Christian Michel makes huge admissions of corruption on interview with Republic TV. As rescue operations continue on war footing, it's race against time in Uttarakhand, where 50 people and 8 army jawans are missing. Rahul Gandhi attacks government amid tariff war, alleges Prime Minister Modi silent on Trump because of inquiry on Adani. Amid India versus United States tariff war, National Security Advisor Doval in Moscow expected to hold high-level talks. And US President Donald Trump sends special envoy to Moscow as he targets India for trade with Russia. Good evening, welcome to Republic. Our top focus, former Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Uma Bharti met BJP MP Sadhvi Pragya Singh Thakur and hailed her as a messiah, saying after facing 17 years of torture, Pragya is now free. Bharti's demanded those who coined the term saffron terror to defame Hindutva should be charged with treason.
और अब वो देखिए अंदर चूंकि इनकी मुलाकात है, चूंकि प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर से उन्हें काफी
का और उनके शौर्य का ऐसा तेज रहता है कि आप भावुक हो ही नहीं सकते, क्योंकि इतना सहनशीलता है उनके स्वभाव में और इतनी मीठी मुस्कुराती हैं वो इसलिए मैंने आपको कहा ना, भावुकता के क्षण तो जब मैं उनको जेल में मिली तब भी ऐसे ही झमझम झिलमिला रही थी।
पर आपकी आंखें भरी हुई दिखाई दे रही हैं।
हाँ, अपन तो इस मामले में मेरा इमोशनल क्वेश्चनिटी तो है जिससे पूरी मेरी जिंदगी चलती है, भावुकता से, तो इसलिए लेकिन दीदी तो शौर्यवान है, शौर्य की साक्षात मूर्ति दुर्गा।
का मिलन है, आप हमेशा कहती हैं जब भी मिलती है तो
मैं साध्वी तो नहीं हो सकती, उतनी तपस्या मैं नहीं कर सकती जितनी दीदी ने की है। मैंने तो अपने गुरु से संन्यास लिया है, लेकिन मैं ये कह सकती हूँ कि मैं उनकी आयु में बड़ी बहन हूँ और वैसे मैं उनको अपना मसीहा मानती हूँ।
17 साल का स्ट्रगल है, 17 साल की लड़ाई लंबी।
नहीं, ये तो हमेशा ही स्ट्रगल की हैं। जब स्टूडेंट लाइफ में थी तो भी अन्याय, शोषण, नारी अपमान के लिए ये हमेशा अपना शक्ति का प्रदर्शन करती थी और फ्रंट पे आ जाती थी। विद्यार्थी परिषद भी हमारा एक ऐसा स्टूडेंट विंग है जिसमें आपको संघर्ष करना पड़ता है, तो उसके बाद एक तपस्या का जीवन होता है, तो उसके बाद की जो संघर्ष की कहानी आप कह रहे हो वो तो प्रताड़ना की कहानी है, फिर प्रताड़ना के खिलाफ संघर्ष की।
जिन्होंने प्रताड़ित किया उनको सजा मिलनी चाहिए।
अब उस पर कानूनी प्रक्रिया क्या है, वैधानिक प्रक्रिया क्या है, वो तो अपनानी होगी सरकार को या कुछ लोगों को।
आप क्या चाहती हैं इस फैसले के?
मैं ये चाहती हूँ कि जो शब्द का प्रयोग किया गया था भगवा आतंकवाद, और जिसको सत्यापित करने के लिए मालेगांव की घटना करवाई गई, और उस घटना में कुछ लोगों को जिस तरह से जोड़ा गया, जो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण लोग थे, मूर्धन्य लोग थे, जिनमें से दीदी प्रज्ञा एक थी, लेकिन इनके मुंह से जो नाम लेने के लिए इनको उत्पीड़न किया गया, उसके द्वारा पूरे हिंदू समाज को और पूरे देश को बदनाम करने की बहुत बड़ी साजिश थी। ये सारे नाम सामने आए और इन पर देशद्रोह का केस चालू होना चाहिए, इनके सब देशद्रोह।
And as Republic tracks this story closely, take a look at this latest ground report.
ये हमारा हमेशा हमें प्यार देती रहती हैं और आज दीदी भगवा का सम्मान करने आई हैं, हिंदुत्व का सम्मान करने आई हैं, और इसलिए बहुत बड़ा दिन है जो, और दीदी हमेशा से हिंदुत्व के लिए संघर्ष किया है उन्होंने, और जब भगवा अंदर था, जिस प्रकार से बदनाम करने का प्रयास किया और हम लोग सभी अंदर थे, तो दीदी ने उतनी जोर से आवाज उठाई जितनी जोर से समाज सुन सके। और दीदी मुझे नासिक मिलने भी गई थी और भोपाल जेल में भी मुझे मिलने गई थी। ये साहस किसी पुरुष ने नहीं दिखा पाया।
तो देखिए ये तस्वीरें हैं जहाँ पर उमा भारती जो है प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर से मिलने यहाँ पर उनके बंगले पर पहुंची हैं, और उन्होंने कहा कि ये जो उमा भारती जो है वो सनातन के सम्मान के लिए यहाँ पर आई हैं, भगवा के सम्मान के लिए यहाँ पर आई है, और ये एक्सक्लूसिव तस्वीरें हमने दिखाई यहाँ पर कि दो साधवियों का मिलन यहाँ पर हुआ है।
Satyavijay is joining us live from Bhopal. Satyavijay, you saw the smiles on the face of Sadhvi Pragya and Uma Bharti. There are earlier images of how Uma Bharti supported Sadhvi Pragya. Also, Sadhvi Pragya, most importantly, is now saying that there are people who tried to torture me. They need to be brought to the book. There need to be charges against them. And also Uma Bharti saying, जिन लोगों ने भगवा सैफरन थियोरी हिंदुत्व के अगेंस्ट शुरू की, उन लोगों को ट्रीजन के तहत जेल होनी चाहिए।
जी हाँ, बिल्कुल। देखिए, जिस दिन मालेगांव ब्लास्ट केस में फैसला आया था उस दिन भी प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर को लेकर उमा भारती काफ़ी भावुक हुई थी। उन्होंने कहा था कि प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर ने 17 साल प्रताड़ना झेली है, एटीएस के अफसरों ने उन्हें प्रताड़ित किया है, और उस दिन उमा भारती जो है भावुक होकर रो तक दी थी। इसके अलावा उन्होंने कहा था कि ये सिर्फ 7 आरोपी बरी नहीं हुए हैं, रिहाई उनकी नहीं हुई है बल्कि भगवा की रिहाई हुई है, सनातन की रिहाई हुई है, पूरे सनातन धर्म से जुड़े समाज की रिहाई हुई है। और उसी दिन ये तय हो गया था कि जब प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर भोपाल आएंगी तो उमा भारती उनसे मिलने जाएंगी। इसी कड़ी में आज उमा भारती जो है, जो कि मध्य प्रदेश की पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री हैं, वो प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर के बंगले पर उनसे मिलने पहुंची। मिलने के दौरान की तस्वीरों की बात करें तो पहले तो उमा भारती ने प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर के पैर छुए, उनका सम्मान किया। इसके बाद उन्होंने रिपब्लिक मीडिया नेटवर्क से बातचीत में ये कहा कि 17 साल की प्रताड़ना झेलने के बाद अब प्रज्ञा ठाकुर जो है वो मुक्त हुई हैं, और ऐसे में जिन लोगों ने भगवा आतंकवाद जैसा शब्द गढ़ा है, ये जो षड्यंत्र किया है, उनके खिलाफ निश्चित तौर पर देशद्रोह के तहत केस चलना चाहिए, देशद्रोह की धाराओं में मुकदमा होना चाहिए। दूसरी तरफ उन्होंने ये भी कहा कि वो उम्र में जो हैं प्रज्ञा से बड़ी हैं, लेकिन वो प्रज्ञा ठाकुर को मसीहा मानती हैं। इस तरह से संवाद हुआ। और प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर ने भी उमा भारती की तारीफ की। उन्होंने कहा कि वो नासिक जेल से लेकर भोपाल जेल में जब बंद थी उस दौरान सिर्फ उमा भारती जो है उनसे मिलने आती थी, उनका हालचाल जानती थी। तो काफ़ी देर तक, करीब 1 घंटे दोनों में मुलाकात हुई। उमा भारती ने साफ तौर पर प्रज्ञा सिंह ठाकुर को सपोर्ट भी किया, भगवा आतंकवाद पर करारा जवाब भी दिया कि भगवा आतंकवाद जैसा शब्द होता ही नहीं है। और जो लोग इस तरह की थ्योरी लाए थे, क्योंकि उस समय महाराष्ट्र में भी और केंद्र में भी कांग्रेस की सरकार थी, तो जो लोग भी ये थ्योरी लाए थे, जिन लोगों ने ये षड्यंत्र रचा, उनके खिलाफ देशद्रोह जैसी धाराओं में केस होना चाहिए, ये साफ तौर पर उमा भारती का आज कहना था।
Thank you, Satya Vijay, for giving us those details. It's a top focus that we're going to continue tracking to see that the people responsible for the Malegaon blast are brought to the book. Viewers, the other top focus: after multiple snags, Air India admits disruptions on 6 flights, releases a statement. Air India sincerely regrets the inconvenience caused to passengers due to operational disruptions on 6 flights that were scheduled for departure on 5th August 2025 caused by some maintenance tasks identified during pre-flight checks that in each case required additional time for rectification and necessitating a change of aircraft. Wonder why they didn't realize this earlier. Let me go across to Harsha, who knows this better than anyone. Harsha, the Air India snag saga continues. Whether it's the Bhopal-Delhi flight where the main wheels were deflated, the Delhi-Pune flight where the waste drain valve lever was found broken, the Delhi-Bagdodra flight where the stall due to wing leaks, whether it was the Colombo-Chennai flight which returned to bay after technical snag, or whether the Delhi-Milan flight, an international flight, Harsha, boarding stall due to electric brake issue. When are this saga, Air India snags, Harsha, going to stop? Who's going to take the responsibility? Is the Aviation Ministry having any backup plan?
So, Ridham, the way the technical snags are being reported, it feels like there's no stop to the pattern of Air India, which clearly states that technical snags are continuously being reported in the Air India aircraft every week. Every week, there's a meeting which is called by DGCA DG of the Air India CEO, Campbell Wilson. Every time some notices are issued, the review meeting happens. Air India is asked to ground more planes. Air India is asked to, with the entire report, to come in front of the DG and the MOCA and tell them exactly what they have done till now. But the reality on ground is very different from what Air India has been showcasing in their reports to the DGCA and to MOCA, the both who are the regulatory bodies of the aviation industry. And it seems like Air India is very irresponsible. No responsibility at all. No assurance of the passenger safety. What we are witnessing here, 5 aircrafts within, those were the domestic A320 Airbus of Air India, and 1 Boeing Delhi to Milan flight where the passengers were asked to deboard twice. Not once, but twice the plane was deplaned. Imagine the kind of a technical snag it would have been reported, and that through when the plane was on runway. It was supposed to take off. The pilot realized that yes, there's a problem with the electric brake, and he can't fly the aircraft with the problem in the electric brakes, and that was the reason. Twice it was tried to fix, it didn't fix. Then the flight was cancelled. It was scheduled for today morning. So this is the case with Air India. What we have been witnessing and reporting clearly suggests that Air India is very irresponsible airline, which we have seen for now. And now DGCA has been given all the preliminary report, all the investigation report has been submitted to the regulatory body, but yet no response from the regulatory body also that what stringent measures and what stringent action will be taken against Air India. Back to you.
Thank you for giving us those details, Harsha. We're going to focus closely on the Air India saga that continues with its snags. The other top focus, a narrow escape from tragedy in Mysuru district. A rice-laden lorry plunged into a canal after an old bridge collapsed. The driver and loaders managed to jump to safety just in time.
A major mishap was narrowly averted in Saragod Taluk of Mysuru district when a bridge over the Baladande Canal collapsed under the weight of a rice-laden lorry. The lorry, registered in Tamil Nadu, was en route from Itinad village to Nanjagur when the decades-old bridge suddenly gave way. Fortunately, the driver and the loaders managed to escape just in time. The bridge, built as part of the Kabini Right Bank development project, had reportedly weakened due to continuous rains. Locals say they had made repeated appeals for repairs, but their warnings went unheeded. Villagers came together after the collapse not only to rescue the vehicle and retrieve the rice sacks, but also to voice their frustration at the authorities. Officials have now announced plans for a temporary structure and have proposed a new bridge.
And there's also a major breaking news coming in. There's been a major development from Manipur. First joint talks to restore peace have been held. The Meitei and the Kuki CSOs meet in Imphal for the first time after 2023 May 3rd. Valley-based Manipur CSOs with representatives of Kuki CSOs held their first meeting to restore peace and normalcy in Manipur today at the Classic Hotel in Imphal. 16 representatives from the Kuki CSOs and Valley-based Manipur CSOs of Manipur in the presence of Arambal Tengol held the meeting today. And viewers, another breaking news coming in a tragic incident near the metro project site in Bhiwandi. A 5 to 6 feet long iron rod fell from the under construction bridge near Narpoli police station, pierced the head of a youth traveling in a moving rickshaw, leaving him critically